Um, who's been turning this week? Come on, folks. Want to hear from you folks about turning. What's going on? Who's spinning wood?
Well,
I
I
know.
know we got a lot of people popping in for gallery. I know I'm working on an urn with a hollow form, and I even broke out my steady rest I've had for 2, 3 years. Finally
I
using it
saw
for the
that.
first time.
Yeah.
Working great. Works great.
Today we're running an errand as we're going down the road here, they're taking down a couple of good sized oaks, willow and something else on the other side and on the other side of the road. And it dawned on me when a wood turner goes by somebody cutting down trees, they don't say, "Look at the tree." What do you, what do you think when you see a bunch of stuff like that? So what do you think? Man, I could turn out of that. There's nobody else in the world that would think that way. I mean, it just immediately. I've got to look at its board. I've got some 8-inch rounds there that are really freshly cut. That would make some really super nice, and yeah, and you start looking at it differently. Some had some really offset pits and could be some great works of art. Um, do we all see that when you see a pile of wood?
Absolutely,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
we
Yep.
do. We even salivate as we're looking. We're
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You gotta slow it.
and you guys, and you guys all know that the follow the sounds of the chainsaws thing too, right? You
Right.
got a
Oh,
big
yeah.
storm,
Oh, yeah.
and you
Yeah.
start listening for the sounds of the chainsaws and go see what they're cutting up.
Yeah, you come out in the morning and say, "Oh, what's that going down over there?"
That's right.
I got a pile of maple burl one just doing that, like two streets over from me. They were cutting up a big maple that came down in a storm.
If you hear just a
Yeah.
little bit, wah, 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 that might be a gardener. But boy, when it's really hooking and good, oh, there's a tree cutter out there. There's a tree cutter,
I
Yeah.
heard that the other day, and it turned out to be a weed eater.
Weed whacker.
Yeah.
After all these years, and it's probably within the last 7, 8 years. My wife, she even keeps an eye out for wood. Even when we're back east driving, or as we're heading back east, when you start seeing trees, she'll see something. She's like, "Oh, you ought to swing around. There was a nice log there. I'm not sure what it was, but it was solid." Whip around. And I've got a set of gloves for her behind her seat. I got a set in mine, and we'll jump out and we'll throw the log in or however many logs it may be into the back of the truck. And obviously the same out here. Anytime we're seeing Holtzbaum that's been cut down, and even when she was still working, she would come home and bring it. Yep.
I keep a tarp and what I call a chainsaw kit in the car and a bow saw. So I've got the chainsaw kit's got wedges and an axe and
There
gloves
you
and
go.
safety glasses and everything. So
Oh, wow, you get into it. I had
it doesn't take up a lot of space, and I want to be prepared just in case,
I had a project I was going to do, and I come home and I hear them cutting, and I ran down there, got 2 big pieces of maple, and I come home and I thought, damn, if I let this sit too long, it's going to crack. So it was one of those hot days, 100 degrees or something. I was trying to put that on my lathe by myself. I had a leg under one end, and you're cranking with both arms around it and trying to get the thing centered. The next day, I had poison ivy down the inside of my leg and all down inside of both arms. And oh man, what a mess. I'll never do that again.
I'd be in the hospital if I'd had that.
Oh God, I had it good.
Yeah.
I keep around and see wood. My grandson stopped. I say, "Oh, look, Trenton, there's some wood." He says, "No, Grandma, no, you've got enough."
There's such thing as enough.
That's right.
Such
You
thing.
bring them up right. Teach them that.
There's this big tree next to my brother-in-law, near my brother-in-law's house. It's got a great big huge burl on it, and I keep eyeing this tree and saying, I wish I could cut that burl off that tree.
Well, what you do is you take business cards to these folks and you hand them a business card. You walk up to the front door, you knock on the door, and you say, and you're right on the back, willow burl or whatever that is that you're looking at, anything ever happens to that tree or you want help taking it down, you let me know. I want me to be your first call.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Much.
near my house, I walk a lot. Every day I try to walk, and near my house in the woods, behind one of my neighbors, there's an oak burl that's probably bigger than me. It's huge, and it's on this big old grandfather oak back in the swamp, and I've been eyeing it for years. So
Mm.
Yeah, that's
My son sent me a text the other day with a picture in it. It says, "Is this a burl?" I said, "Uh-huh." As a matter of fact, it was on a
He don't-
stump too. Now, I
you-
wish
he
I
don't
knew where
know
it
that?
was.
He don't know that growing up with you?
He's seen little pieces. He hadn't seen real burls, but he
You
got
should have had him out there harvesting wood with you.
he's not that interested yet. He'll get there, but not quite there yet.
Well, when they're young, they ain't got no choice, right? Huh? Okay.
He was always
I-
too busy with his music, so
I
that's
came
all it
I
is.
came home from vacation today and had 2 pickup truckloads of
There he
maple
is.
and walnut in my driveway.
Nice
There you
neighbors.
go.
I love that.
Oh, the city dropped it off from what the
Yeah.
neighbor across the street said.
Wow.
That was nice.
Yeah, they know
That's
I turn wood, so when they get into good stuff, it ends up in my driveway.
Mhm.
That's a lot of wood.
My city don't love me well enough for that.
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a nice problem to have.
Yeah, I wish I
Alright.
could get the cemetery across the street to do that when they remove the tree, but no, they insist they gotta take it and sell it for firewood.
Oh golly.
Well, that's when you take one of your nice bowls or nice vessel that you make, a nice one,
That's right.
and you take it to a trustee.
Yeah.
And then the trustee will keep you in mind next time.
No, you take it to the trustee and then you tell them, come over to my shop and I'll help you turn one of these.
Right?
And once he turns one, you won't have to worry about getting wood anymore.
There you go.
Yep.
That's how I did it with the
Once
city
you try
guys.
it, you're hooked.
Yeah, if you're just practicing your black belt and gum flapping, they hear that every day from a myriad of people. Take them something of substance,
Yeah.
and then they're going to remember you.
Very, very true. Very true.
All the guys that dropped this off have been in my shop and made a pen, and they each made it themselves. I donated all the parts and the kits, and some of them have come back and actually learned how to turn. And so now when I get stuff, it's good stuff.
There you go.
And I made some new friends doing it.
Mm.
You're
Right.
bringing
There you
them
go.
upright. You're bringing them upright, Papa. You're bringing them upright.
Ryan,
Right. Called training them. Training.
Right.
Well, it's top of the hour, Dane. Should we start things?
Yeah, let's. I know we've got some folks in gallery already. Let's go ahead and jump into some gallery. We'll do gallery for about 45 minutes, and then we'll do our safety, and then we'll jump to our scheduled demo for the evening.
All right, sounds
If
good.
everybody is copacetic with that, otherwise we can talk about tiddlywinks. All right, let's go to gallery.
All right, well, I'm going to start with Ruby because she was on the list last week and had to bail due to storms. So let's see what you got, Ruby.
All right, this one I'll show on my camera. It's one of the bishop's staffs that I had to make. I've done 6 for them now. And I'll show a close-up of the head. It was carved. Sorry, I just got a message showed up on the phone too.
Oh, that's
Oh,
great.
Wow.
Okay.
That's beautiful.
What's the message say?
Holy
Says
mackerel.
yes, he'll let me know when they're leaving so I can look after their cats and take in the mail.
Ada,
Oh,
Good job.
that's fantastic, Ruby.
Beautiful.
gotta take care of the kitty cats.
And then if some of
The
you
detail
saw,
in those hands.
if some of you saw the Meet the Wood Turner with Natalie from France, she was talking about how she holds the
From
The
Blur.
tremblers in the tailstock. What you do is you make something like this with a Morse tape or two to go in the tailstock. And then it's just held by these strings here after you turn the very end bulb part.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you go down about every couple inches, you have to add another string rest that attaches to your ways.
Bedways.
Yeah. So it's not hard to construct, and they work very well.
Cool.
And I had a stack of these to make up. They're coasters. My neighbor brought over some 4-inch pieces of round cork.
Mm,
So I made her a set and a set for me.
Nice.
nice. Perfect.
Nice and big.
Nice.
Very cool.
I think that's enough for one night.
Thanks, Ruby.
Nice, Ruby.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Now the unfair part is somebody's got to follow Ruby. That's the
Oh,
unfair part.
Yeah,
Dave
no
Kingsley gets that honor.
There he is.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Well, I have the most difficult turn I have ever made. And it was end grain, and half of it was punky,
Mm.
and it was out of balance and vibrated as well as being end grain, and it gave me fits.
Looks
But
like
I
you did-
sort of liked the way it turned out.
So it looks
Yeah,
good.
beautiful.
Yes, nice and smooth.
Great.
And I have another one that involves a question. Working on this phase, this is ash. And what I tried to do, since it was fairly plain, is I tried scorching it. And I don't know what I did wrong. Did I not scorch it enough? Because it's all blotchy. Did I scorch it too much? Should I sand it off and start over?
That looks
What
pretty
effect
good.
are you trying to
You can
get?
add,
It
You can- you
depends
can
on how
add-
you wanted it to look. I mean, you want
Yeah,
it black or do you want it just, you want to show off the grain?
I want to show off the grain, but like you got these blotchy parts right in here.
Yeah,
Just-
you just held the torch there just a couple seconds too long.
A couple seconds too long.
Yep.
yeah, and some of it might be part of the wood can sometimes do that. I that looks
Yeah.
pretty good from what I can see. I think you did
Yeah,
a
it
good
looks
job.
pretty good. Sure. Yeah, but that could have been a soft part of the wood. That'll scorch a lot faster. So
I-
it's just a hit and
I'd
miss.
torch it more. I'd torch it more.
I'd scorch
Yeah,
it.
I
down a
would
little
too.
bit.
I don't know what you're using for your torch, Dave. I use one of those little craft torches that I've showed a couple times. It has a very small but very hot spot that you burn it with. So I kind of creep up on it at an angle so I get the tops of the grains, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I used a butane torch. It's got the head on it is
Yeah.
about a little less than 3/8 of an inch across.
And
Okay.
that one marking there that's kind of highlighted, kind of looks like a tool mark or a bruising of the wood.
Like, you know, right here.
Yeah, well, yeah, to the
Turn it a
Yeah,
little
it
more
does
right
look,
there.
right
it
through
does look
there.
like it's part of the wood that's causing that. I
Yeah.
agree.
I think you should leave it alone. I think it looks fine the way it is.
Yeah, I do too. I agree.
Yeah, if you try to torch it again, that might even make it more blotchy. If that's the look you're looking for, I would just leave it as it is.
Right. Yeah, that's beautiful. You're the only one that mentioned that, you didn't like it.
Well, this
Did
is I
you-
don't like it. It's just that I'd like to be able to do better and know what I did wrong. That's all.
Did you get it wet?
I was gonna say, can he sand that back a little bit, guys? I
Yeah,
don't know.
Oh, sure
can
you
sand
can.
it. You can sand it back. Yes.
I would do it by
Yeah, I
hand.
did sand it back some. It was quite a bit,
For those
darker than
spots
this.
though, I would just sand it with the grain by hand. Don't try to power sand it or while it's running on the lathe. Just do it by hand.
I suggest getting it wet, let it dry, and then sand it by hand. It'll make all the fuzzies stand up and you'll knock them off. And some of that burn look might go away. Burnish.
Well, I did sand it with the grain by hand. Although I did some rough sanding with it. The first part of the sanding.
What I
did
found
with the lid
too,
on.
if you think the grain is too dark in that spot, use a copper brush like welders use and it'll take a lot of that scorching out of the grain doing that.
Yep.
And then I would
The,
sand
bra-
it
the brass,
afterwards.
brass works too.
Yeah. Copper or brass brush. And then I would sand it just to clean it up. But yeah,
Yeah,
that'll
well,
take a lot of that scorching out of the grain and kind of clean that up.
Yeah, currently this is sanded to 1200. But
Yeah,
Well,
you know it had a
when
bit of a
Yeah,
polish.
Yeah, it's
when you sand it
enough
that
for lower.
fine, you're burnishing, and
Yeah.
and you're going to. I mean, you probably want to rough it up a little bit so that you can
It's
get
set.
more of the burn. More of the grain gets burned. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Go back to
Cool.
240. Go back to 240 and torch it again, and then lay into it with a torch, and then use the wire brush like what Hampton is saying. That's what I would do. My opinion.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, you got a nice shape there.
A lot of options. Yep.
Thank you. I learned some
Thanks,
things.
Dave. Next up is Al.
Wow.
What you got, Al?
How's everybody doing?
Doing good.
Good, Al.
Good.
I saw a fella, I don't think it was, I mentioned it to Dane the other day. I don't remember his name, and I wouldn't be able to even explain or to say his name, but he had something like this, and it was almost like a challenge. He had a picture and he had a challenge, and he's got a chain on it, and it had a high nipple effect like that. But I'm sorry.
So tell us about the challenge. What do you call that?
I don't. It was over a week ago, and he had a picture. And he said the challenge was to try to match a picture and send a picture of what you have in, and it'll be selected and it'll be shown on their Facebook page for a month or something like that. And I just, like me, I play around.
Very cool. Very cool.
Nice little piece of spalted maple.
All hollowed out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And yesterday I saw Ruby and Wayne, they were talking about scroll sawing on Doug's show yesterday. And here's something I made for my wife about 35 years ago. Scroll saw.
Looks good,
looks
Al.
good.
Wonderful.
Very nice.
So it's supposed to be like a silhouette.
Yeah.
We can tell.
Yeah, it looks like it. Looks good.
Anyways, that's what I have. I've been busy all week. Just never seems like I get anything done. But everybody have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you,
All right,
Al.
thanks, Al.
Yeah, next up is me. I got a couple of works in progress, so I did this one this week. And I'm doing some carving and painting on it. It's in process. So I got some plans for it. So
What
And
are
then
you carving it with, Matt?
well, mostly just Dremel burrs. I use stump cutters to get smooth cutting, and I'll clean it up with diamond burrs. And then the dome rivets are done with the Manpa eye cutters. So, and then I did this one this week. I was turning some cherry balls from some of that wet cherry, and I turned this piece here. It's like super thin, and it's got some. And this was a scrap, and I got a little thin on it.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So, but it was in the, it did some warping, as you can see. So it's
Yeah,
like,
the work's cool.
but this was the piece of wood was just, it was a cutoff. So it was just the piece of wood was like that, you know what I mean? So it was just a very thin piece of wood, and so I put a small recess on it and turned it. So and it did quite a bit of moving, which is added to the character, and I really like the colors in it. So,
It's a big dish, really nice.
yeah, and it's like, I don't know, 7-8 inches across, so. And I'm still finishing it, so it's not completely done yet, but good times. So
Very cool.
next up is Dewey.
Evening,
He's
evening, greetings.
He's here.
Hey, I am.
Howard.
I got something started. I turned this vase out of cherry, and then I carved. I'm not carved, but I took the laser and engraved the pattern in. Now the next step is to carve all this stuff, and it's going to take a while to do. But once I get it done, then we got to do the final embellishing on it and seal it. But I just want to show you what we got started, and I'll just kind of keep you updated on how things progress.
Good. I'd like to see the steps.
Yeah.
This is, I like cherry because it's kind of hard. It's a little bit harder than some of the other stuff. And it doesn't it doesn't peel like carve it, so.
Yeah, it's a great carving and burning wood. My piece is cherry too, so yeah.
Yeah. So
very nice. That's gonna be fantastic, Dewey.
I can't wait to see it done, Dewey. That's awesome.
Looking forward.
These areas here within the dark lines, like right here, they're going to be gone. It's going to be kind of an open, like I normally do. So building a jig for my Dremel, such that the Dremel would kind of be like a drill press. It puts down, and then I'm making a cart. It's got rollers on it. You can roll this way, they go this way. That way, I can use my Dremel to kind of cut out these open spots here, just by going like this, rather than trying.
Sounds great.
With the wood, the Dremel.
Document the tool build too, because I want to make one of those too, and I'd love to see how you do it.
Actually, Dremel actually sells an attachment that turns your Dremel into a drill press.
Right, you got two devices on.
I'm not going to make it into a drill press, but it can be. It can be, but I want to be able to. I just got some rollers and some stuff, and then this is where it's going to be the tricky part, is doing this. But anyway, I just want to let you know what I got started and what I'm planning on doing on it, and I'll just keep you guys updated on how things go.
Hey,
just promise that I won't have to follow you.
What's that?
Hey, dude.
I can't tell who's going to follow me. Maybe just don't make me last, okay? That's all I care about.
Hey, Dewey. Now, the tool that you're going to make for the rolling, now what would that be? Like a flat piece of wood, and what kind of rollers would you have on the bottom of it?
Just hold on. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you. I got a drawing of it. Hold on. And let me bring it up. Okay. And I'm going to try to share my screen. Hold on a second. Here we go. And there it is. Share. Okay, here. It's kind of hard to see. But anyway, this is kind of what it's got to be. This is, well, come on, here we go. This is it. See, I want to have just a straight rod here, and then behind it is a threaded rod. This carriage right here, it's going to be able to go up and down, and then this is going to slide in and out, such that I can take into advantage of various sizes or diameters. Now down here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some grooves, some dados, and my roller thing. I don't have a picture of it or a drawing yet, but it has two long rollers that it can roll it horizontally, and then I'm going to have little bearings on the bottom of the carriage, such that I can go this way with it. So anyway, that's the concept anyway. So.
Thanks, Dewey. Is this something that you'll use on your lathe?
No. This will be a tabletop thing.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
I'll have the Dremel. The Dremel will be right in here. It'll fit in here and go down in here, see? But anyway, we'll
Okay.
see how it turns out. Sometimes a drawing, it doesn't end up like the drawing, So,
I do.
but anyway,
Yeah, we all know that one.
I'm gonna stop sharing. Here you go. But anyway, that's the plans, guys, and hopefully it
All right.
works.
That looks like a pretty good plan.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the progress too. Sounds great, Dewey.
Yeah, well, once I get that thing built next week, I'll let you guys take a look at it. Once I get that thing built, I'll be using it by then. So
Hell yeah,
Cool.
sounds good.
anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep. Next up is Charlie. What you got, Charlie?
Hello. All I got done, I got a couple of things done, but they're already gone. The only thing I got left, the birdhouse. That's Applewood.
Wow. Look at
Pretty-
that.
Very nice, Charlie.
It was a whole, it's out of my sister's yard. The house next to her burned down and it killed her apple tree.
All right.
And it caused a lot of coloring in it, the smoke.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
Did
beautiful.
did this one stink like that one piece of apple
Nope.
you turned from it?
This one,
No?
I only had the one smell bad. That was
Yeah.
the piece that was burned the worst.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That's all I have, and I don't mind who I follow. Everybody's good.
All right, there you go. Thanks, Charlie.
Yep, thank you.
Very cool. Well, next up is Bob.
No, hey guys.
Mr. Grinstead.
Yeah, let me, all right, I've got a couple of things here. They're all bowls, but, I just wanted to show them off here. This one is a, Bradford pear.
Crap.
Back up a little bit.
Beautiful.
Got lots of color. I've got, some burn lines here, and of course the Sorby, texturing tool, going around the side of it. Still
Wow.
have the tenon on. I didn't want to take that off. I wanted to leave that in there just as a little decoration on it. But that's one. I've got another one here.
Got a nice shape, Bob.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, this one here is a little different shape.
Like that one.
Kind of a little bead at the top. It's big bead. It's not like can't think of his name now. But anyway, he was showing some beaded bowls on Facebook. But this one here is another big bowl, heavy. This one here is again out of a Bradford pear. Bradford pear makes a real pretty looking bowl. It's always had good color. It always has good texture to it. It doesn't tear out real bad. So I like turning Bradford pear. And then I've got, I want to show these again. This is my Christmas present to all the neighbors and family. I've got 18 of these made so far. So,
Wow.
yeah, they're
Beautiful.
really fast. They're not hard to do, and they turn out fast. I've been turning like 5 at a time and
Oh my goodness.
cutting all the pieces and turning. This one is mahogany. It turned out real pretty. I like the grain in it.
Yes.
Beautiful.
I've got some that are maple, like this one here. I've got some that are beech. I've got some that are popular. I'm not crazy about the poplar. I think the poplar has too much green in it. I'm not real crazy about that. But the rest of this oak makes a real pretty one. The oak is real pretty when you do it this way.
Very nice.
But that's it. That's all I got to show, guys. I just showed what I've been working on.
Hey, ought to see what we got on his lathe right now.
Yeah, I've got
Yeah. I saw that.
I got another big one on the lathe. That one there's about 15 inches in diameter and all open segment stuff. But I'll turn it tomorrow. I was just gluing it up today.
Hey, Bob,
Wow.
Bob, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Up on your shelf, you got that Christmas tree lantern.
Yes.
Did you make a video on that a while back,
Uh,
a few years ago or something?
Maybe,
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether I actually made a video of it or not. I made a video of, I think. I can't remember all the videos. I made a video of. I don't know if you-
That one. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
But I saw a video on YouTube of that tree being made, so I was just curious if that was you. I can't remember if it was you or not.
I don't think I did it. Of course, I got
Yeah.
mine from YouTube. I was watching some guy do these and I thought they were real pretty.
Yeah,
And,
what
they
Bob?
are, they're fun
I
to do.
don't
Got a
think
little-
we haven't had a demo on that in the club.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think I did that one.
Okay, because I've
I
made
think
a
Bob-
few, so I wasn't sure if that was you that put out the YouTube video or not.
Yeah, no, no, I was just following somebody else.
Okay, I was just curious. Thanks.
They're pretty. Those are fun to do too. People
Oh, yeah.
like the Christmas
Yeah,
tree.
What,
look.
was that inside out turning?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It's four
Yeah.
staves. Four staves.
Right.
And I
Beautiful.
probably made like a dozen of them and I sold every one of them. So,
Yeah, they're real pretty.
yep.
And they're really easy to do. The inside out turning is easy once you realize, I guess, what you're turning or what to turn on the inside. And it's not much. If you hold it up and, looking across your lathe and what you see is that profile is what you're going to get on the outside.
Yep.
So it's easy to see once you realize what you're going to get out of it.
Yeah. I figured out when I was turning mine, when I was turning the inside part, it seemed like it was the tree was the opposite direction of what it would look like when it was put together correctly.
Yeah.
How it came out looking like, so.
Yeah. But it's easier to see if you look across, put something on the other side of it and look
Yeah.
across the turning and it's easier to see it.
Oh, yeah.
And just imagine that it's half of it,
Yep.
Sounds like it was a good learning experience, Scott.
Oh, yeah. They're fun to make.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they look good.
All right. Well, that's all I have on the list for gallery. Dane,
really?
I'm gonna go over to you and
Okay.
add Ruby, because you guys had a very interesting little conversation there in
Well,
in the chat about.
I'll give the preface of it is, and I see it often online with people drilling with Forstner bits, and they talk about drilling out the center mass first. Say you got to make a 3-inch hole. You're just wanting to remove some mass, or you're trying to make a box, or you're just now venturing into hollowing. And your only means to hollow is to use a Forstner bit. And you see so many people give the advice of, drill, smaller hole first, and then go to the next larger size and keep going. And it's rather difficult. Well, it's rather difficult. It's nearly impossible to be able to drill a straight hole if you remove that center mass, because of the way the Forstner bits are designed. It's got a center finder. It's got its flutes that's doing the cutting. And if you have that mass removed and that Forstner bit is just sitting out here on the outer rim, that thing is just going to bounce around and it's going to cut whichever direction that it finds the soft wood on there. So I just wanted to bring up a pretty relevant topic that it seems like a lot of people struggle with. Ruby, what's your thoughts on it?
Exactly the same as yours. And the same thing applies to using spade bits.
Yes.
Or even a regular drill. Drill out the large part first so that you have a centering hole for the next one.
So the whole cutting action is supported.
Yeah.
If you remove that center mass.
The only time that changes sometimes is if you're putting a screw or something in, and then you drill a very thin hole for the tip of the screw to follow as it's going in.
Right.
And that's only in wood.
Right. Don't do it in metal.
Right.
Well, I've done it with hollowing. I like on large. I got a 2.5-inch Forstner bit, And, it takes a while if you got a fairly long piece that you got to hollow out. And I've started out, I've come out with like a 1 3/4 or something like that to start out with, or smaller. But the trick is that you have a Jacobs chuck that is real good, and it really sticks, or it's really good into your tailstock. And you start it out real slow. You start that 2.5 out real slow. But once you get it started and you don't run it real fast, only about 300 or 400 RPM, it'll pretty much hollow out pretty good. I never have had much deviation doing it that way. But you got to be real careful and real meticulous when you start that, because if you try to start it out real fast, then man, it's just going to go everywhere,
Well, and then when you're hollowing, it really doesn't matter, because you're going to clean all that up anyhow. But like for a lot, and I see it a lot with people doing pepper mills, and they wonder why, oh, my hole was off center. Well, okay, how'd you drill it? How'd you hollow it? And then that's the explanation.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's the reason why. If you're going to be cleaning the outside hole up, it really doesn't matter if it gets off track. But if you're trying to have a finite dimension that's being created by the Forstner bit, you're not going to have it. I had somebody, and this is a relevant topic for me, because the last couple of days I've been going back and forth with an individual, and finally I just left it, saying, I 100% disagree with you. You do what you want to do on it. But you're trying to convince me that a Forstner bit was designed for that. And I'm yet to see a Forstner bit that's ever been designed for that. Personally, I think this person ought to just pack up his equipment and sell it before he hurts himself.
Well, if you're drilling into end grain, the best bit to use is a spade bit. If you have to use something that's like a Forstner bit, it's the one with the saw teeth.
Yep.
That you want to use. You don't use the one with the smooth cutter into end grain. That's made specifically for side grain.
Yeah.
I started using a twist drill. I have 1.5 twist drills, run it at about 150, 200 RPM. And the other thing is, if I need a hole directly, absolutely on center, I drill a hole first, center on the hole, and turn the piece.
Right. And if you're doing, like if you're doing, 1 inch or 2, and it's going to be a solid hole, and say you're going to do it quite often, like Jim said, twist drill, but get a Morse taper twist drill that goes right into your tailstock and be done with it, because you can't beat a twist drill.
Yep.
I'll agree with that.
Just don't run it too fast.
Right. Well, period. Drilling, period.
When I first got it, I ran it about 1,200 RPM. What the heck? Oh my God, this thing is bouncing all over the place. And it takes a little while.
You shouldn't be running your Forstner bits over 200 RPM.
Well, the other point is that when you do use a drill, whichever kind, only go in a little ways, come out and clear the bit, then put it in again. If you're using a twist drill, you don't want to build up the material along the flutes on the drill, because they will expand and they can cause your wood to crack apart.
Oh yeah, you get the stress fractures from the friction heat. Just like sanding.
Yeah.
You also can lock that twist drill into end grain if you don't clear the chips out. You can lock it in there and you won't get it out without breaking.
Right. Oh yeah.
That sounds like experience talking.
It is.
and you'll see that a lot online, and especially with Forstner bits. I got this stuck in here, or with the pin turners. Oh, I got my drill bit stuck in here. How do I get it out?
I've seen it happen with people get their blanks stuck on a screw chuck, and then can't
Yeah.
get it to unscrew off the screw chuck.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, that's another good topic too. You know, for the people that get their chuck locked onto their spindle, and you hear everybody say, "Oh, take a torch to it and heat it up." So that's another old wives' tale, because that metal, you got your spindle that's metal, and you got your chuck that's metal. So how do you plan on keeping the spindle from expanding at the same rate as the chuck? You know, so I always love, you know, going back and forth. You know, oh, throw a torch on it. You know, that's always first person. You know, and the reason why they do that is because they heated it up so much and they fried their bearings, and they want somebody else to feel the pain and suffer with them. If you got your chuck locked onto your spindle, all you got to do is open it up, put in a 3-foot piece of 2x4, clamp it down, and use that as a lever. Lock down your spindle lock. And if you don't have that spindle lock button, you've got a little divot inside on your spindle. You take your knockout bar and you put it inside the spindle hole, because that's what it's designed for, and then you just lever it off. Easy peasy. Doesn't require
Actually,
hammering.
if you look at a record power chuck, they have a special hook key that's made to put onto the chuck,
right,
so you don't mess up the jaws or
proper
the opening.
spanner.
And
Right, but a lot of people buy, you know, secondhand machines, and they don't have, you know, all the attachments or peripheral equipment that it should, you know, that it originally came with. And you know, so I see it a lot, you know, with the smaller deltas and the jets and whatnot, and it's just it's just crazy, some of the.
Hey Dane, why don't you tell them the secret so that chuck never gets locked on there? Called a copper or nylon washer.
Well,
yeah,
for
that
me,
works really well.
What I do is I use a nickel cadmium washer, and the first thing I do is treat it just like an iron plane or a scraper. I flatten it first, because I know the spindle backing, I know that was machined flat, but I know for a fact any spacer or washer you get from the hardware store is not going to be flat. You flatten that thing first on both sides, and you put that on your spindle, and then you put your chuck on there, and you'll never ever have a problem with your chuck.
I find the nylon washers work really well.
But the problem with nylon is it's gonna take in indentations from your chuck, and you got to replace them every so often.
Don't overdo it, and you do.
Well, you
You have a good chuck.
but you can't keep from overdoing it, because that torque is constantly hitting on it. It's constantly tightening up.
Well, if you have a good chuck, it'll have a set screw for locking the chuck onto the spindle. Just remember to undo it before you try to take the chuck off.
Oh yeah.
Take those set screws, and you set that with your faceplate, and you put that up on top of your magazines to keep your fan from blowing them away.
Yeah.
Amen, man.
That's exactly what you do with them. That way you don't mar up your threads, and you don't mar up your spindle, regardless of taking it off properly, because when you tighten it down and just through the constant tightening, you're marring up your spindle.
I haven't had that problem.
I could go to your lathe, and I'd be able to see where that set screw sits. 100%.
Yep, for
100%.
Well,
There ain't a person that uses them set screws on their spindle through their chuck without having their spindle marred up.
I can speak from experience, Dane.
Me too. Yes.
What happened to my power
I know everybody can. Hey, I'm guilty. I did that the first time. Like, wow, what am I doing here?
No,
And it wasn't because I was trying to take my chuck off with the set screw in.
So
no. A couple of months ago,
Ruby said to loosen it first.
I said it has nothing to do with that.
No, it's when you tighten it down.
When you tighten it down, if it fits properly, it's between the threads and the headstock.
Yeah. There's a
So if
reason.
it does leave a little mark there, it's still not going to interfere with how the chuck works or how the spindle on the lathe works.
Isn't there
The
a
only-
recess?
Nope.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
recess
there's
for
a
it.
recess there.
Yeah.
And the only time it screws up is if you
So I'll tell you-
don't undo it
So
all
I'll
the
tell you,
way.
I'll tell you what, my shaft is threaded all the way to the end. And that's one of the nuances with the 90th anniversary edition.
Mine isn't.
Mine isn't either.
And I'll tell you, I had a, maybe I've already told this, I had a 19.5-inch sanding disc on a 6-inch cast iron faceplate, and I was sanding up a storm. I turned the lathe off and that damn thing come off. And you want to see the Tasmanian devil run around your shop. I just got out of the way and let it bounce, but that thing bounced higher than your waist and it ran all over the shop.
What I've ran into on my spindle, the threads are so long, I have 2 one-way chucks and the inserts won't allow it to spin all the way to the base of the spindle. So I can't tighten it down without hitting the threads.
What kind of lathe?
It's a Laguna
Huh.
Laguna Platinum. Something like that. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's easy to fix, Scott. You buy another lathe and another chuck.
Yeah. There you go.
I'd rather have the lathe than the chucks, but
Right. There you
no,
go.
this is still my baby. I've had it since 2006.
And the electronics haven't blown on you yet?
No.
Then you're one of the lucky ones that I know.
No, well, it's the newer models that go
Have the
out.
problems. These older models, I don't
Once
hear
they change
anybody
colors.
complain.
Once they went to black, that's when they went to crap.
I've never had a problem with any of the electronics on mine.
Yeah.
So hey guys, now a couple of months ago I was talking about that set screw, and Dane, you saying what you're saying and stuff. So you don't turn it in reverse at all.
I do turn in reverse. Absolutely. Sure do. And I explained that also 3 weeks ago during my demo about turning in reverse and about using the rheometer to dial your speed down instead of doing a hard stop. So some lathes don't have, I've got braking on my lathe, but some lathes don't have braking. And when you do that hard stop and you're going in reverse, then that'll cause your chuck to come off.
Well, if it's okay with people that don't have it, don't do it. Use the set screw.
I think pretty much everybody has a speed dial on their lathe, with the exception of those that are using Reeves drives.
Right. Okay. All right. I'm still
right.
I'm learning about
But
that
that's my opinion and that's my take on it.
I
right,
like
well-
Bill's comment. Older models of lathes and men are much more reliable.
Yeah.
I like that, Bill. I
You
like
got
that,
it.
Bill.
Not all of them,
I-
but some
I
are.
agree.
Some
I
are, some
agree,
are.
Bill. There's a lot
It's
of
all
us
about
that
the
resemble
mileage,
that
right?
remark.
I almost fell out of my chair, Ruby.
Well, they're just like a good car. Like my van that I still take to the shows hauling my equipment is an 05. It's got over 1 million miles on it, and it's still running true as could be.
I got
Yeah,
you
but
have
beat.
a-
Mine
you
is
have
an
a-
Aren't your
04.
mi-
And
Aren't your miles
there's
in
no computer
kilometers?
in it, right?
Aren't your miles in kilometers?
No, I left mine switched to miles.
Oh, okay.
Is it a Honda?
No, it's a GM. It's a GM Safari van. I've had 5 of those, and I bought this one because I knew this was the last year they were making them. And if I take the one back seat out, I can just get my my lathe, a stand, and all my tools and wood and crap in to go demo with.
There you go. And it doesn't have a computer in it.
Nope. Doesn't have a navigation system either, but my phone works.
There you
There
go.
you go.
Some of those still have computer boards in them. My 2004 still has computer chips in it. It's just not like today's.
It's
Right.
not
Yeah.
online. It's
Not online. No,
Yeah,
it's just to make the thing go. It just helps.
My 03's got one in it, but it is definitely not online.
It just helps with the fuel injection. That's pretty much what they're for.
Right.
All right. Well, Lonnie said he had something to show us, so we're going to go to Lonnie next.
All right.
What you got, Lonnie?
And then after Lonnie, we need to do a Heidi Ho welcome for Scott Newsom. He's a new member and first time meeting.
All right. You're muted, Lonnie.
How's that? That better?
Yes,
Lot
much
better.
better.
All right, I'm gonna switch the camera around here. I got a new rest for my grinder that I bought from a gentleman in Iowa. And I got it today, and I just got to show it to you. It really works great. So it's called right angle tool, I guess, grinder rest.
Wow, look at
And,
that.
The website, he's got a couple different types. Some of them mount directly to your base, or this one, of course, works with the Wolverine system. But it's really slick because it has this adjustable peg here, and you find your angles that you want, and you mark down the number you want, and it's just very repeatable.
That's a great system. I like that.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah,
slick.
me too.
So it's like $160 or something. The website is rightанglenow.com. And a guy over in Des
I've
Moines,
seen
Iowa
his
makes it.
videos. His adverts.
Have you checked that with your gauge? Is it dead on?
Well, the numbers don't correspond. These numbers don't correspond to angles. You find your angle that you want to grind, and then you grind a tool. And then, for instance, kind of depends on your machine and what angle this is set at. But then I just write down a corresponding number, like I think 35 degrees was a number 11. 40 degrees was a number 12. So then I just write that on my tool, and it's repeatable, and it's really fast. That's the part I like about it, is when you want to grind, you don't have to go set up. You just move this peg down and wherever you want it to be, and you're ready to go.
What is the name brand? What is the name brand of that?
rightanglenow.com is the website.
Is it RIGHT or RITE?
RIGHT.
I put it in the chat. And those are only
That's
accurate.
correct, Dean.
Those are only accurate for CBN wheels. It's not accurate for aluminum oxide wheel.
That would be true. Yes.
Hmm.
And this piece here is adjustable this way also, front and back. I got mine fairly high on my wheel, but once you find your angle, you're good. So
pretty cool.
I like
it's a nice setup. So that's all I got, guys.
All right, sounds good. I think
Lonnie?
we Sheila's got something, Matt.
Yeah, I didn't see Sheila. I saw James, and
right, let's get
apparently
James.
I skipped over Tom. So let's do him. You want to do him
Okay.
first? So
Hey, I know
let's
how
go
it
to
is.
let's go, Tom.
Hey,
Sorry, Tom.
not a problem. I did a holoform a while back, and I believe it was Camera Monkey. And my camera went away. You'll have to take my word for it.
Oh, I hate those camera gremlins, man.
Yeah, you're frozen.
I'll circle back to me in a little bit.
All
All
right.
right. Let's go to Sheila then.
You were almost
Ready?
frozen like that.
What you got,
unmuted.
Sheila?
Well,
We can hear you.
okay. I've got this thing. It's kind of burnt. The square part. And
The
It's
emergent
an
hollow.
emerging
Nice.
hollow form.
yes, I was gonna call
Yeah.
it something to do with Jasper. Jasper comes out of the flames or whatever.
I like that idea. I like that. That's pretty.
Well, I did see somebody else do it, so I kind of copied their idea off of
Joaquin,
YouTube. It was a guy named Morgan out of France, I believe,
oh, okay.
whose
Same way to
channel
make
I
a-
watch.
That's
Same
a
way
very
to make
cool
a
piece.
emerging bowl.
Joaquin
That's
Vincent
pretty.
showed a step by step with the various pieces of wood last week.
Okay, I missed last week. I kind of got
So
sidetracked.
what step did you do first? The
The
face
good
that we're
wood.
looking at first?
First it's mounted, I guess, on the headstock over this side on the back.
Uh-huh.
I just glued a little piece and did it between centers. And then you turn this part. Well, it's spinning this way. So you get the outside front of it, and then you turn it this way and do the top. And then usually have to turn it back this way to get it to blend. And redo parts of it and cut the top of the cube off.
That's really pretty. I like that.
Nice job.
Yeah, it really
Thanks.
is.
And
And
I'm
then you
finally
hollowed it
not
out.
getting sooty.
That's pretty. That really is.
Thanks. And the other one, my daughter got me some Banksia pods. And one was rather not very well shaped. It was kind of deformed a little bit. So I stuck it on the lathe and started turning at different axis points to kind of just go until I got down past all the furry stuff on it. And it kind of came out like this. So it's kind of weird. It's still on the chuck. I'm not done putting a finish on it yet. But it's kind of a little weed pod. I opened up the end and I might do something different with this part because of a certain thing that it looks like. Even though it's diseased.
You need a creative name.
He said Mother Nature's drunk.
Candlestick. It's a candlestick.
There was
you
there
go.
was a movie in the 80s that starred Michael Douglas. That would be a perfect name for that. Leave it as is.
Okay.
Just saying. I'm just saying.
It's all in the eyes of the beholder.
Yeah.
Don't
'Cause
always
I'll be
listen to
honest,
me.
that is not what came to my mind when you were showing that until after you said that. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I can see that. Y'all got your mind in the gutter.
True.
Yes, some of us live there, Dane. Next up is James. What you got, James?
I've got a aromatic cedar bowl I was going to make for a veterans auction.
Nice.
Came out pretty nice, with the exception of when I put the medallion in it, it cracked.
I was getting ready to ask where the crack is if that was cedar.
Yeah, it cracked real nice.
Yeah.
I've got it glued back together, but I'm gonna keep it at the house.
Oh, darn.
Have to make another bowl for that auction. But the grain on it is beautiful.
Yeah, it
it's
is.
gorgeous.
Yes, it is.
Pardon? And this is, I think it's got about 4 coats of tried and true oil on it.
Beautiful.
It turned real nice until I put the medallion in it. And then it decided to give up the ghost.
Hmm.
You see the crack right through here and it ran all the way across.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
unfortunate. It's a pretty bowl.
It really is.
How did the
So I'm gonna have to go
medallion
buy-
cause that?
Pardon?
How did the medallion cause that crack?
I was tapping it back in to give it a
Ah.
snug fit. And I didn't realize there was a crack already there.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't have any more of the wood. I can always get another medallion.
Yeah.
I really like that color of the wood too.
No, that's pretty.
It was.
Yeah, it's pretty.
What do you think cracked it?
I think there's a crack already there. There were several cracks that I caught and I put CA in it. And this one I didn't catch. And I've got another piece, a smaller piece, that I think I'll put a half a bottle of CA into it today.
Yeah, see,
Well-
that's cedar. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was really pleased with it. It polished up real nice.
Yeah,
Everything,
it's a beautiful wood.
It really is. So it's going to go in my trophy case.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, that's all
All right,
I've got,
thanks,
guys.
James.
Sure.
All right, let's do one more.
Let's see if Tom's ready to go.
We'll give it a shot. This is a holoform that I turned some time ago, and I believe it is maple, spalted maple. And there was the color is integral. It's all one piece of wood. But I think I finished this one with Odie's oil. And as I recall, it's about nine inches tall and about 6 inches in diameter.
Beautiful.
That's all I got for tonight.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Thank you.
Very nice, Tom.
Thank you.
Well done, Tom.
Appreciate it.
Dane, do you want to go to Scott Newsom first?
Yeah,
welcome him in.
Yeah. Sorry. Scott Newsom.
There we
Take yourself
go.
Off of mute there.
Yeah.
First meeting for you. Congratulations, you made it here. Hope you didn't have a difficult time finding it here.
No, not at all. Thanks for having me.
All 86 of us will give you a nice applause and welcome to the group and everything like that. So,
awesome. Thank you.
Hope to keep seeing you in.
Have you had fun tonight?
Oh
Our
yeah, it's been
typical-
great.
Awesome. Our typical format is what you've been seeing so far. Next, we'll be doing we have a safety moment, and then we always try to have a demo scheduled right at the top of the hour, and that'll last for a little bit, and then we'll go back to doing gallery. But anytime if you got something to show, if you got a question, a comment, feel free to jump in. You definitely get more from the group by participating as opposed to sitting in the background with your cameras off and being muted and being like a mushroom in the background. So definitely a lot more fun being like this. So
I'll try
welcome
not to
once
be a
again.
mushroom.
Right on.
Do you know
Right
how
on.
to use the chat, Scott?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So, do you want me to do
All right.
an introductory?
Yes. Show a piece.
Okay.
Wow.
So I've been turning for about a year, and I got pretty good with bowls. This one gave me all kind of fits. It was on my lathe for nearly 3 weeks. I could not get a good surface on the outside of it. And then I went to SWAT, and I saw people putting beads on bowls. I even won a beaded bowl there. So I came back and I decided that I was just going to cover the outside of it with beads to cover up the mess on the outside of the bowl, all the little, picked out pieces of wood that just would not get smooth. And I'm pretty happy with that. That's the first beaded bowl I've ever made, and I think it came out pretty good.
Came out great.
Yeah, there's a big old hole in it right here. And I decided I was going to experiment with milliput before I did those beads. Just figured it was trash. I was just going to fool around with it. So I have this horrible, blue turquoise spot that looks worse in person than it does even on video. But from this direction, it looks like a mask.
Oh, looks like a skull.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I decided to call it the Phantom of the Aqua.
There you go.
Actually, Scott, it looks like the old 1300s bubonic plague mask. You know, with
right, Venice
mask with
yeah.
with the dongle coming out. Yep.
Yeah,
it looks great.
Sure
looks good.
Anyway,
Nice job.
thank you very much. Great to be here, and thanks for the
Awesome.
welcome.
All
You're
right,
welcome.
sit back and enjoy, and thank you.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep hearing about safety. Let's go to safety. Sue, what you got, girl?
Right here, guys. Welcome aboard. I'm glad to have you as a new member.
Thank you.
We're going to talk tonight about bandsaw blades. We all have bandsaws, or most of us do. I have a 14-inch Rikon when colors were still green instead of blue. But mine's a 14-inch, and how many people have been by their bandsaw and all of a sudden the blade breaks? It's scary. It scares the crap out of you. So
just all by itself, Sue?
What's this?
I said just all by itself or due to something we're doing?
Just walking by it and it cracks?
No. My neighbor, whenever she comes over to try to use something goes wrong. This is the second blade that is broken after a final cut of hers. So yeah. But a lot of that can be done or be avoided by looking at the tension of your blade. A lot of us leave our blades the way they are, but if you're not going to use your bandsaw for several days or weeks or whatever, you should undo the tension on it. On the Rikon, they have a big arm on the back, and you just push on that, and that releases the tension automatically, which is a good thing to do because the spot weld or whatever they use to weld or solder the
join the blades.
Yes, the blades together will become weak if you have too much tension on them. And what if it breaks and it doesn't stay in the machine? And all of a sudden you're wrapped in wire with little points all over it. So Jim's saying something. Hang on, Jim.
He's blaming Rita.
Well,
it's
Rita,
true.
It's true. So yeah, I didn't release the tension on my blade when I flew up to see my sister, and I was gone, 2.5 months, 3 months, whatever, it was too long. And so this was the first cut on the bandsaw since before I left. And that's probably what happened. And I've been thinking about changing the blade anyway, so now I just have to. It's a good thing I keep extra blades in the shop. But yeah, make sure you lighten the tension on there. And when you walk away from your machine and you're not going to use it for a few days or longer. And just be safe this week. Make sure we have all our fingers and toes and a complete face and all that good stuff. And so that I can see you next week and give you a big smile. So be safe this week, you guys. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sue.
I'm curious
All
how many
right.
people actually reduce the tension on their bandsaw blade.
I do.
Yeah,
I don't.
in all honesty, I
I
take to do it every time I quit. Every time I leave the shop, I do.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sometimes I forget, but I usually do every time.
but you'll hear a lot of people say, I've never done it ever, except when I change a blade. And for me, that doesn't sound correct. You should not be doing that.
Well, I fit in that category.
Me too.
Me too. I haven't ever taken the tension off of mine, ever.
I have a nylon Me three. Band.
So I used to have so I got a Laguna, so I got to drop down tensioner arm. And so when I first got my bandsaw, I'd always release it. But you know what I would forget to do? I'd forget to tighten that sucker up when I do a cut. And then I'd be halfway through, and then I'd realize, oh no. So let me tell you something you don't do when you're halfway through that cut. You don't crank that thing up, because then you'll get that 22, the sound of a 22 going off in your ear.
Carter makes a good add-on to bandsaws that allows you to loosen and tighten the tension on it.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good deal. But, all right, cool. Very good. Trey, good seeing you in tonight.
Well, I thought I'd stick my head in. I had a bunch of people at SWAT, say, why don't I ever show back up at the meeting? So I probably had 25 people walk up to me at SWAT and say hi.
Yeah,
Good.
that's outstanding.
So
good. All right, well, so we're at the top of the hour, and so as promised, our regularly scheduled demonstration for the evening. So tonight we've got Doug Miller. So it's going to be Doug's demonstration. He may or may not want to have questions asked while he's demonstrating. If he does, he will sequester them. Otherwise, let's keep all our questions and comments till the end of the demonstration. And I will be watching the chat and asking questions during opportune times when he's doing a tool changeover or moving his tool rest, where it's safe for him to answer said question.
Well, if you want, I'm experienced at earworming for him.
Oh no, we're good. You can save that to Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Make sure you properly bless that wood.
Right, and then so I'm going to mute everybody, Doug. So you'll need to unmute yourself. And go.
Okay, there we go. Before I get started, I just want to go ahead and do my gallery if I can. I was going to do a takeoff of this tonight, and Dane and I discussed it and decided to do that some other time. But this is a bowl I did yesterday, cherry, zebra wood, and I think that's pear. All of these were little bits and pieces that were laying around in my burn pile, and I just thought, some of this wood's not so bad. Even this cherry, that was an interior bark inclusion that we didn't know was there until I actually turned it. So and just decided to leave it open. Thought about filling it, but just decided no, it looks pretty good like it is. So finished with well, I've got a combination of things. One was a finish I've been trying to get rid of, and then some spray on polyacrylic for the last couple of coats. I'm going to buff it yet, and then we'll be done with that. Oh, so for tonight, was watching Papa 1947, Gary Asher. He was a pattern maker. That was his trade until he retired several years ago. Still comes up with some of that kind of thinking about processes and what to do. And he had done a bowl based on a game from when he was a kid. I don't remember the game. I remember some of the pieces, but I don't know what it's called or anything like that. He called it a knuckle bone. He did a knuckle bone bowl, and then this was just going to be a knuckle bone. And so basically, let me start this way. Basically, it starts as a cube. For his example and what I'm going to do tonight, 4-inch cube. This is some cedar, 2 pieces that I glued together, cut it, and then after the glue was nice and dry, it's got a hole in the center, 3/4 inch hole in the center of every side. So 6 holes, they all meet in the center. I was wondering if they're going to actually meet, because this is not a perfect cube. It's not, if you measure all the sides, you're not going to get exactly 4 inches all the way around. But all my holes do meet in the center somehow. I did. I'll just go ahead and show you more of the layout. You can see, maybe Yeah, you can see where I did the cross there, went corner to corner, found my centers on all 6 sides. And then I went from the edge of the hole out 3/8 of an inch. That's a little bit bigger than what I want to end up with. And I'll show you more of that. In fact, you'll see it'll all start to make sense here. I took that then to the bandsaw and cut those outside corners. So I end up with the knuckle bone, the knuckle joint, or whatever you want to call that. I've already turned that one, because I wanted just to make sure my process was working correctly, and it is. And so to go with that, I had to turn myself a couple of centers. This is the one to go in my live center. 3/4 inch diameter here. This one is a 1 inch diameter. And that'll go against my live center and into the next one of these that I'm going to turn. And then I've also got one, switch cameras here. I've got one here in my headstock, in my chuck. This is 1 inch, this is 3/4. And then whatever size it is for the tenon, so it fits into my Hornig jaws there. So like I said, I've already turned this one just to make sure the process works. Let's go ahead and we'll turn a bunch more. We'll see how the time goes, and
You got plenty of time. You got plenty of time, Doug.
We'll make a decision on how much of this we're going to do based on how the time goes. There we go. Turn it by hand, making sure everything's clear. Like I said, this was all done by bandsaw. And I'm one of those, I don't turn my tension off of my bandsaw because I use a Shopsmith bandsaw, and I have to take the covers off of it completely to get to the tensioner. So I don't. And I've never had a problem with that. My problems come from other things. We'll just leave it at that. Cheap blades have gotten cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So I'm hand turning it. I'm clear of everything. I'm going to start at 200 RPMs, and then I'll turn it up as I know everything is good to go. Here's up to 1400. Got my face shield on. Rings are off. And before anybody asks, no, I've never found that other ring. Just taking light cuts here. This is one of those things there really is no reason to get in a big hurry. My little handmade bushing here gives me the diameter I'm turning down to. I had one turned out of cedar. And on that one that I turned, I found that something was awry. And so I abandoned that one and quickly did myself a new one. And this one automatically, I mean, it just already was so much better than that first one. I'm going down to my cut. It's going to leave a little piece that I'm going to have to do something else with, but I'll show you that when we get there. Anybody remember this game when they were a kid?
No, I don't.
No, I assumed it was
I don't
something that
remember
was,
ever hearing of it.
yeah, I assumed it was something before my time.
Yeah, it was jacks. We used to play it in the snow.
Well, yeah, there was jacks,
But no, it's not jacks. It's not
jacks
jacks.
had 4 spears or 4 points, and then the opposite, the 2 outer ends had balls on the end of them, as I remember it. And this is, I don't know. I remember something similar to this that, had some sticks that you'd build with it. I'm gonna turn that speed, I've turned the speed down. I'm gonna turn my dust collector on. Does that sound okay still, Dane?
Yeah, you're doing fine.
Okay. I'm
Looks good.
I'm never sure about that dust collector.
Yeah, it's Zoom's taking care of it, so you're good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's being noise canceled.
good. And it's doing a job too. I'm not getting dust falling or flying up in the air. It's all going my you can't see it. It's just off camera is where my collector tube is. Just this quick. Of course, part of this is cedar. You guys who have turned cedar, you understand. Or if we want to do it, call it correctly, it's juniper. It turns very easily. It's a soft wood. It sands very easily as well. That's sanded up to 220 at this point. So then I just have to pull out that little bushing piece, move it to the next one. Unfortunately, the tailstock will push it right in for me. I don't have to worry about it getting perfectly centered or perfectly in there. Here we go. This is the one that was off center because of my bad original bushing. Again, make sure I'm clear. Turn my speed back up. Now you could take your time and get everything perfectly even and square from the very beginning. Gary seemed to indicate that it really wasn't that critical. And I tend to be in agreement with him, at least to this point. If I was going to do something else with it, I might want to be a little more precise. Some of you may be wondering, this is my typical 1/2-inch bowl gouge. A little more tension on it. Trying to get it basically straight across here. It doesn't have to be exactly square or doesn't have to be exactly straight, flat. I told you I drilled these 3/4 of an inch, and then I gave myself another 1/4 inch all the way around. So that made for a 1 inch outside. I'm
Hey,
coming
Doug,
up. Yeah.
Can you touch on the dimensions of the overall project for the group?
Overall.
Yeah, you started with a 4x4 and then you drilled it with what size and what was your
Yeah.
I know the offset was 3/8.
Drilled it with a 3/4 inch.
Okay.
Drill bit. I used a 3/4 inch paddle bit because my paddle bits are a good bit longer than my Forstner bits. Forstner bit would work perfectly. There again, just whether it's paddle bit or Fosner, I agree with what was said. That center point on both of those drill bit styles is what gives it that beginning guidance. If you don't have that, you have nothing guiding that drill bit. I understand the whole issue of taking pressure off of your machine, whether it be a drill press or your lathe, but in the long run, I think you're much better off not drilling a pilot hole. Go straight to whatever. In fact, I had a 2 1/4 inch Fosner bit in my hand. If we needed to, I was going to show that point, because having that bigger bit in my hand, I could show you that point pretty easy. But anyway, yeah, a 3/4 inch hole. And then to lay out my lines, I simply added another quarter, which would be a 1/8 on either side of that 3/4. So that gave me a 1 inch, made for this to be 1 inch here that I wanted to use. And then actually in my layout lines, I'll turn that. I know y'all aren't hearing it so bad, but it's driving me nuts, that dust collector. I gave myself, outside of the 1 inch circle that I wanted to turn down to, I gave myself another 1/8 of an inch, which is actually a quarter, to lay out, so that I had something to come down to. That's not long enough. There we go. All right, there's 3 of them turned. And if you find that you're not getting enough grip just by squeezing it between the wood, you can put some gripper in here, like the rubberized shelf paper, and that works really well. In fact, this doesn't have to be down to 1 inch here. That can be left larger, and then put your non-slip shelf liner in there, and you'd be that'd work really good for you. But I'm using this line here and here as my stop. I'm turning down to that. And yeah, you can see it right there. Right here, it's leaving a square edge. And I'll show you how we're going to deal with that here in just a minute. So we're clear. Can turn it on. Speed my lathe back up, back to 1400. A lot of rinse and repeat with this little project. It's not a big deal, but a lot of repeating yourself. If this was a super hard wood, like a, oh goodness, all kinds of things. It could be old pecan. It could be any of those Southwest woods. Mesquite would be a one. You did it out of ebony. Anything where it's real hard, it would get a little, you might want to cut it a little closer. You didn't have quite as much turning to do. Just turning up on edge so that I can get right into that corner as far as possible. Back down on my speed. I'm going to, I'm not being critical on sanding speed, but I'm going 500-600, something like that, so that my sandpaper can do its job and I'm not having to stand there quite as long. Or cedar does sand awfully easy. Getting there, getting there. always amazing to me how fast some woods sand. Some woods you sit there and sit there and sit there sanding, and others you just hit them a few times and they're good to go. Got the first 4 done, which is surprising to me. I don't know why it surprises me that it turned that quickly and easily, but it did. It's cedar. Creak, creak, creak. This one is tight. This one is not. There we go.
Getting through it.
Oh yeah. Popped right there as I started to go around. Typical of cedar, has a little chip out right there.
Hey,
I
Doug,
would-
is there any, so we have a question. Is there any thoughts on whether you could turn, both sides at the same time? Or to run and use the skewer to badon or parting tool to do the shaping instead of a spindle gouge, or is it just preference?
You could turn both sides at the same time. I kind of I toyed with that thought myself. Especially if you're used to turning over, and the only problem, well, it's not really a problem. You would need to turn your tool rest. I've got this in as close as I can to this one side. Also, you're limiting yourself a little bit with your chuck and all of that. But yeah, you could, if you feel comfortable doing that, you could use a small skew or a badan, even a parting tool to do this. I'm using a bowl gouge because that's kind of my tool of comfort.
Plus, we get a little bit more turning out of you.
Why, sure. In fact, that on this last one, let's do a little experiment. But you'll notice I've got my bevel running on the plane that I want to cut in. And I've got the edge of my blade turned up on edge, so it's cutting like a knife, cutting like a skew does. Same one here, I'm taking my bevel straight down this line so that I can get in here as close as possible. And I've got the flute closed, and then come back this way. Same thing, close that flute, get right in the corner, even with a bowl gouge. There we go. Turn that dust collector on again. Kind of conscious of the dust collector because
oh, it's fine.
Well, I'm conscious of turning it on partly because I don't have my air cleaner on. It's got a little different noise that does come through the microphone just a little bit, but it's more of a annoying kind of a thing. Now, when I use the shop vac, that came through loud and clear, which just reminded me I did not turn my air compressor off. So if it were to come on, you could hear it, I promise. You can hear it in the next county. Oh yeah. I'm going 80, 120, 180, 220. Russ Fairfield he always made a strong point about, that whole thing just popped. That's cedar. That's cedar. But I've got a little Parfex 3408 right here that will do the job. Russ was real big on you go up half the value and you don't do all your work with your most aggressive grit, and then your others will be much easier, much simpler, much quicker, and do a better job. And since I started doing that, that has worked very well for me. Wow. Stuck to my hand more than it stuck to the wood.
This cedar does glue back good.
Yeah, it does. Get my activator and just move my glue so I don't get activator on the bottle. There we go. Now it'll work. Yeah, it'll glue back real nice. I'll have to do a little hand sanding, but that's okay too. All right. Yeah, this little bushing on this end probably needs to be sanded down just a touch.
Got any painter's tape, Doug? I'd run a strip of painter's tape around that.
That's a good idea. Real good idea. Oh, me. Here we go. Real good idea, Dane. I probably would have thought about that when it flew off the next time.
I'm trying to look out.
Yeah, well, that's how we tend to do it, isn't it? We see it for other
right.
people before they see it themselves so often.
Yeah. It's just a way to conquer and overcome.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of like the Foster bit thing, and starting off with your inch and going up by half an inch at a time. That's you lose that point. That's why it's there. It's to be the initial guide.
Support it.
Yeah.
Support.
All right. Let's see. I was going to change tools so we could try something different. Here's a 1/2 inch skew. And see it wants to grab a little bit more. All right. Sometimes when the 1/2 inch doesn't work, let's get the 1 inch. It's just as bad. It could be done though.
Finesse.
Don't,
Finesse.
yeah. Don't be deterred by my inability.
Did you raise your tool rest up for it?
I never do.
Oh, okay.
Partly because my lathe is sitting 4 to 6 inches higher than anybody else's anyway. It's well above my elbow height. Let's go with the spindle gouge, the Soleil spindle gouge. It's definitely going to be better than the skew. Yeah, I had somebody one time, they went and got a new lathe and they came over to my house. They said, I want to see how high your lathe is. So why do you want to see my lathe? And they told me they just got this new lathe and wanted to set it up the same way mine is. And I said, well, first off, what are you going to turn? They were going to turn much smaller stuff, mostly spindle type work. At the time, when I set this lathe up, I was turning hollow forms. And my back was really beginning to give me a lot of problems. And so I raised it up. It's up as high as the legs will go. And then I put 4x4s under it. And so anyway, I'm used to this lathe being a higher, taller. Somebody well over 6 feet would enjoy my lathe.
You need to make yourself a platform, Doug.
I don't need one. I do just fine. I'm nowhere near as Emma Cook is under 5 feet, and she turns on a full-size lathe. And when you
So
see
she
her
uses a
turn,
platform.
no, she does not. She's holding that thing up under her chin. Or she's holding her tools up, well up under her chin.
Yeah, she always looks like she's climbing on top of her lathe every time she's
Yeah.
turning. Yeah, I
Yeah.
hear you.
Yeah. I thought she was using a platform
Okay,
too.
then.
She would talk about how short she is, and I thought she used a platform, but she does not. I didn't quite get down to that piece of wood, but that's okay. It's doesn't need to be. Get this sanded up, and then we'll go to the next step. I won't even have to change it. We'll start at this one. All right. Now, told you all a while ago, it showed you. It's leaving this, get it where you can see it good. It's leaving this corner that
Yeah, we got it.
goes all the way down on every one of these. There's 6 of those. So what I'm going to do to alleviate some of that, and you can use any tool you want to. You could go to hand sanding and carving at this point. You could get a Dremel out at this point. I'm going to take my Easy Wood #1 hollower, just because it's a small cutter, and I'm going to go in there and take away just some of that, and start to create this transition point. Get it where I can. I've got to see it first. All right, so I'm get my pencil here again. Right here, I'm down to this tube. I've still got the corner there, but it's gone in this. I can't get it where you can see it, but between these 2 tubes, it's round right here, right in the center. Same here on this one and this one and this one. They're down to the tubes. So I need to turn that and get 4 more of those. Same whole thing. Got to use my pencil. There we go. All right, those 2 are done. Okay, turn it this way. think you can probably already see, once you've done 2 or 3 of these, they will get easier and easier, and you'll be able to knock them out. I'm sure, without having any cameras on or explaining to anybody, I am sure I can get to where I can knock these out in 15 minutes, maybe. There you can see where I'm getting that hollowed out between the two. I didn't quite go deep enough on that one. Let's do that one again. Should have looked before I took it out, but I didn't. Yeah, it's better. Not perfect, but it's better. Okay, we got that one and that one. And we are right. Okay, we're there on that one. And there's going to be some hand carving to do at some point. You just can't get it all. I'm only hitting 2 of these. The other 2 have already been hit. All right, looks like I have one more to go. Yeah, I got one more. No, I've done that one. Okay, so that is all that I can do. Ah, stuff's falling. So I can get rid of that. There goes a tool. Ah, I heard Sue's voice. That's what happens when you leave your tools on the lathe bed. You're exactly right.
I would never tell you that because I'm guilty of that as well.
Yeah, I don't do it very
Scott
often.
Hampton. That's Scott Hampton that's been preaching that.
I don't do it I do it very seldom, but I do it every once in a while. Yeah, it's got to be sanded where that
Yes.
seam is there.
Do not lathe your tool chisels on the lathe bed.
Yeah, it does. It really it doesn't help a whole lot. So what I'll do is I'll take something like this, my Dremel. This is a little sanding burr. I've got loads of them. I've got the small sanding drum, the large sanding drum. I've got a whole variety right here. That's a little carbide cutter. Matt has shown many of these in many of his demonstrations. There's a little round, little ball burr, little tiny thing on that one. Just use whatever it takes to get in here and get these little things. Gary even talked about sitting out in his backyard with his pocket knife. He got his lunch. It was a nice afternoon, so he just sat out in the backyard in a lawn chair with his pocket knife and just whittled away on these 8 little corners to get them gone and start smoothing them out. And then just taking some sandpaper rolled up around his finger and just going in between these things and just working them around. Something you could do sitting out in the 95-degree temperatures or like some of us had today, more like 70-degree temperatures. I think we were 70, 71 degrees here today for a high, but we have been hot. But all of that, especially if you have a softer wood, will sand up, carve up just real nice. And then you might say, well, what do you got? You get that sanded up. You put a little lacquer, polyurethane, shellac, whatever. Put that on your coffee table, and your next guest that coming in, the first thing they're going to do when they sit down is pick that up. How in the world did you do that? Where did you get that? You didn't. No, you didn't do that. That's 3-axis turning. Is all it is. There's one axis. There's another axis. There's another axis. So 3-axis turning, and it works out. Yeah, as you see, works out really nice. Kind of interesting. In fact, it's not sanded up yet, but just for the sake of argument. This is some spray on polyacrylic. So it gives it brings out the color, makes it shine a little bit. And I'm sorry that didn't take any longer than it did, but
It's going to be purty on the coffee table.
it'll be nice. Once it's sanded up, I'll spend 15, 20 minutes probably with the Dremel wearing these 8 corners out. And then I'll get out these, what I'll probably do is get the little small, I've got a little small, it's a sanding thing. It goes in my like a sanding barrel. It goes in my drill press, about a 1/2 inch. And I'll get that and just use it by hand and go in between, I'll go through this one, I'll go all the way around this way, and I'll do all the way around this way, and then turn it and go like that for a while. Probably sit out on the porch swing and watch the birds eat what's left of my garden up. So there you have a knuckle bone. For lack of anything better to call it, we'll call it a knuckle bone.
Great demo, Doug.
Yeah.
Good job, Doug.
All
Anybody
right.
have any,
Thanks, Doug.
Very
anybody
good,
have any
thank you.
questions or anybody have any questions or comments on the process or doing any turning or doing anything beyond what Doug was explaining on carving out the 6 corners there?
You can definitely see all the way through it. So you see it's drilled all the way through.
So what are some of the places you could take this? Where would you go with this? I mean, you said just leaving it on the table as a conversation piece,
right?
But I don't have any people over. You know what I mean?
Sure. We've talked a little bit about the bottle stoppers, taking those and taking them with you to some of the dinner parties that are coming up. Take one of these with you, especially if they have kids. Just throw it out on the table or throw it out on the floor for the kids to play with. And you might want to do it out of something a little stouter than cedar.
Cedar.
Do something more like maple or oak, and it'll take a little longer to turn, but it'll be a little stouter too. That would crush in a heartbeat. Cedar is just not that stout a wood. It looks cool, but that's about it.
Get enough CA glue in it, and it'll hold up.
Well, yeah, you could do that if you had a bucket of it. Just duck it in there and pull it out and let it sit a while, and yeah, that would stiffen it up real good.
Ball and socket, interesting.
Again, I didn't take a lot of time with either one of these blanks, getting them ready to make sure they were perfect. So some of these legs are a little bit longer than others. There I go dropping it. It didn't break. That's a plus. Yeah, and I can almost reach it.
That's
Um,
because it fell in shavings.
There's
gonna
not
have
much.
to
I swept today.
You're
Billy,
gonna have to send that to me now, Doug, because everything hits the floor I get. Remember, I got
She
the
got
other
the,
one.
she got that other one. Yep. Yeah.
It's mine
And
now.
this one did have that one crack, one split out, but that's just, like I said, that's cedar. It's going to happen. I went a little deep right there. I went just a touch deep with that round cutter, but that'll sand right out. So uh, I'm stalling while I think about where I'd go with this, Matt. You know, you
Hey, you even
could,
got you got room to throw it between centers and take some more off the knuckles. You know, that would take that indentation from the carbide out.
maybe, yeah. You know, I was just thought too, you could if you go on the bias here and drill a hole straight in and put a stem on it so it stood up on a stem. Change cameras and it'll make a little better sense.
Something else you could do. You've got your chucking points there with the corners. You could mount those corners between centers and further turn each of those unions.
Yeah.
Hey, let's do it. Hey, let's do that.
Where's my
feel like doing that? Experiment here.
Let's see. I have to do. Oh, I know what I can do. Okay. Yeah, don't really have. Here's what I'll have to do.
Hey, Doug, we got a question about drilling the holes.
Yeah.
When you drilled them, did you drill them halfway through or did you drill them all the way through?
I drilled as far as my drill bit would go.
Okay.
Which was it was virtually all the way through. It wasn't all the way, but almost.
It was close. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah. And then I could come back. It went far enough that the point of the drill bit was sticking out. I was using a paddle bit. And so that little center point was poking out. And so I could use that as my reference when I turned it over.
Yeah, good question. Thank you.
Hey, Doug, would you have to drill the holes in it?
Would you have to? No, you wouldn't have to. You could turn it completely. Yeah, completely between centers.
Yeah, between a dead center and a live center.
Yeah.
It'd be less likely to break out.
Put little tenons on your cube. You could Forstner bit it all on the lathe.
Yeah. No, Dane, you can't do that. You can't get those little. No, there's not enough room. Go back to overhead and you can see. It's a good thought, but see, I hit that one. If I move over, I'm going to be square in the middle of that one. So no, it was a good thought.
Yeah.
Real good thought. But, you know, like Gary said, like I said a while ago, just take some relaxing time and just nibble away, whether with a pocket knife or use a Dremel. I don't have a powered or a battery powered Dremel. Mine's corded. So I don't have a choice on that. I sit down here in the shop. I'll pull my little shop stool over and just do one at a time. And I'll, get around and, okay, I need to go a little further here and a little further there. Or maybe this other tool would work a little better.
But you're not going out in the backyard and doing it.
I could with an extension cord. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I've got extension cords. I could do that easily. In fact, my porch swing is on my in my carport looking out over the backyard, and I've got an extension cord run to it now that I'd use when I smoke my briskets and what have you.
Looks like a fidget now.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting the last of the shavings out of it.
It's a
out of the
fidget.
inside.
Like we were talking before, you could put the Dremel in a vise and then you just have to hold the piece. I
Yeah,
found that
yeah,
much more accurate.
sure, sure.
Also, you have 3 different planes of this. I mean, all the spigots are the same. You could
Yeah.
have 3 different planes of that. So the spigots would be long on one end, short on the other. So
Oh, yeah.
all 3 of those could be set on different planes.
And Jim, something that you just made me go to my brain. I have seen these things or something similar where instead of being straight across,
Yeah,
these were on an angle,
yeah, they could be very well. Yes,
which would put you 4,
Yeah.
6. You
You
could
could
have
do-
7. You could have 7 axes on that.
yes, yeah, yes, you could.
Wow. That somebody said, I said something about that bowl that I showed you a while ago. I was just cleaning that bark inclusion out, causing that hole, and somebody said, "You don't want to be putting holes in the bowl. That it's a path to insanity." This could be a path to insanity real quick.
Yes, it could. I don't know what you do with it when you get it done, but anyway.
It's yeah, exactly.
It's a gee whiz turning. That's all it is.
Yeah,
got it.
yeah. And it's something that will cause people to say, "Hey, how in the world?" When, as you just saw, it wasn't that hard. Not that hard at all.
Piece of art for the coffee table.
Yeah. The Femispheres, is that how you say it? The little they end up being round. They don't always look like they'll roll, but they will. You know, you turn them, cut them, re-glue them after you turn that, and yeah. Heather did some of them. She did a whole series of them. Anyway, though, things like that where people look at them and say, "Huh?" Every once in a while, it's good to have one of those kind of projects. And that's what that is. It's just one of those, huh? Almost like a ribbon finial. Because I don't know anybody that would turn a ribbon finial. That's just crazy. I don't know how many Matt's turned. I've turned a dozen or so of them myself.
Yeah, I have at least 15 of them sitting in my shop in a box.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I did one.
That's
there
why
you
I've
go.
got. That's why I've got that. That's a little saw blade. I need a bigger saw
Yes.
blade. Need the bigger one.
I will send you a link, Doug. I found some on Amazon
okay.
that work
Okay.
really well.
Good. Yeah, that little one is. There's a couple of places where it's just not quite long enough.
Yeah, and if you
All
leave
right.
things a little too thick, you can't get in there. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So anyway,
Nice demo.
so there you go. One knuckle bone. For whatever reason you want to turn one, there it is. Have any questions? Feel free to send me a note, and I'll be glad to answer you.
Hey, Doug,
Yes, sir.
if you lay that flat on the table, you can have 3 points pointing up. You could put flower buds in it.
Okay, hang on. I'm getting
Good
bored
idea.
over here. Yes, you're
Yeah,
gonna
you
have.
put
Yes, you're gonna have 3 up.
Put 3 flower beds in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
If you did artificials with the wire in the stem, you could have them go all the way through and bend so they're going up. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
You can set a bowl on top of it. It can be a base
Yeah.
for a bowl,
Yeah, I just
Around-
happen to
around-
have a bowl right here close.
especially a round bottom bowl. Round bottom bowl would sit in there real well.
Nice display stand for a sphere, a ball.
There we go.
Nice idea.
Yes, a sphere.
That's
I've
a
got
great idea. Note
Yeah.
to self.
Yeah, absolutely. There's your sphere stands. That's something better than the cone with a little dish on the very top, which is what I've
It
done.
is. It totally is.
Yeah. Oh me. One of these days, I'm going to build myself a platform so I can stick a platform right here in my tool rest, and stuff will be right at the right level. But anywho,
Hey Doug, I got a question for you.
yeah,
Where do you have your grinder at shoulder level?
because that's how high the bookcase behind me is. It's too
So
high.
you sharpen that way?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
I do.
okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, I've just gotten used to it now. The two shops before I came here, it was on like a kitchen countertop that was in the shop in both places. And when I came here, this shelf was sitting here already, and I just bolted it to the wall so it wouldn't fall. It's stacked absolutely full of wood, and that was the only place I had to put my grinder. And so that's where I sharpen. I hit my shoulder on that a lot.
Yeah, I could see that. I've seen you clip it, a couple times.
In fact, right here's the handle for locking the arm in
Yeah.
place, and I have hit
Right.
that a number of times. But I keep this stick right here so that I keep the same distance all the time.
Yeah.
That never changes. So even if I knock it loose, it takes me 3 seconds and I'm back in place exactly where I want to be.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that was a burning question I've been meaning to ask you for several weeks now.
It's
So
a lot of when I came to this house, the basement, well, this part of the basement was unfinished, and the wall that you see directly behind me didn't exist. I put that wall in, and it's, what did I say, 13 feet from the outside wall to this wood wall behind me. I put that in with the intention of putting 2 doors in. The 2 doors are sitting in the other part of the basement, still haven't been installed.
Yeah.
So the dust
It's-
goes everywhere.
Yeah, it's kind of like people out here that buy boats. They sit beside the house. I always tell them. I had a director of operations. He was bragging. We were in a board meeting one time, and he was bragging about his new boat that he'd bought. And so I asked him. I go, what color did you get the boat? And red, yellow. Always fancy colors and stuff. And I go, well, what color was your house? And he goes, like, well, beige. Typical Santa Fe. I go, why didn't you get your boat the same color as the house?
Right.
Multiple other people understood what I meant, but he,
Sure.
he just had this dumb look on his face, and he's like, well, why would I do that? I go, because that's where the damn thing's going to sit at. Yeah. Anyway, so
Yeah.
that's a standing joke out here in the desert. People getting
Yeah.
boats, and there ain't no water to take them to. So
Sure. This whole shop thing since moving here, I moved here 10 years ago. And the only 2 things that have changed since I moved in. One, I pulled this lathe out from the wall. Some of you may remember I couldn't put my knockout bar through my headstock. Now I can. I moved it almost 3 feet to the right, and I've got that dust collector, which is right over here to my right, another 5 feet away from me. That's why I was concerned about how much noise it makes, because it's close, but the
I hear you.
frequency is at such that the Jabra takes care of, between Jabra and Zoom, it takes care of that. So
Right.
we're good.
No, that's
You
good.
also added
All right.
the clock on the shelf.
I'm sorry.
You also added the clock on the shelf.
Yes, I did. That was one.
Yeah.
I kind of sort of turned it, but not really, and added that. And actually, that is actually, no, it's not. I glued a block, just a square piece of pine, to the wall so I could hang that clock there.
There you go.
Had to sit there for like
All right.
45 minutes holding that thing.
Hey,
All right,
Doug,
well-
Doug, you know what? It was a great night. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Al. Thank you.
That was
All
really
right,
nice.
thanks,
night.
Doug. That
Very
was a
enjoyable.
good demo. Thanks for stepping outside of the norm.
Absolutely.
That's what we're kind of leaning towards, going forward with demos that are done. Something that's not what we normally see going on with the demo, with the demonstration, or at least with the past 5 years. We want to try and do something and it doesn't matter the complexity of it, but we want to try and bring something neat, a gee whiz project in for us to see. And so this is this is a really good demo to spark the interest. There's a lot of different ways you could go towards making this. One, I would use something else other than cedar. I think Doug will make them out of something else other than cedar in the future as well.
That's a fact.
Just because of the propensity of cedar wanting to crack all the time. But at the same time, it's a nice wood to show, aha, I did it.
Yes.
But
I do have,
you know,
I do have
nothing
one
wrong
more
with that.
blank that I will turn this one, but I'm going to make some others out of some other woods. I've got loads of pear. I've got catalpa. I've got stuff.
And you can do them in smaller sizes. You know, you don't have to do a
Or
4x4. You know, if you only got a 2-inch square piece of wood or a 2x3 rectangle, it doesn't have to be the same. The spigots don't need to be the same length. You can make them different lengths.
Yes.
But yeah, you know, it's a cool little project. So, all right. Well, with that, let's span over to Captain Eddie, and he doesn't have his video on. Captain Eddie, you still there? No, he's listening in the background. Oh, there's Captain Eddie.
Got a problem unmuting it.
We got you, buddy. We got you. What'd you think of that? We got you. Got you.
Cannot figure
had
out
you.
what I'm doing wrong here.
Oh, you had it right.
Oh, there you are. We see you.
Now I'm back. My computer came unplugged and housekeeper. Hey,
Yeah.
I've been watching on my iPad. That was pretty good, Doug. I like it. I like that. I never turned one of those, and always, you know, you envision in your mind as to how to make it good. That'll make you a little bit dizzy after a while. But, you know, it came out really nice. And I was really kind of drifting off a little bit early on because of the conversation y'all had in the beginning about drill bits. And I don't want to go back and rehash all that, but what I found on drill bits is people who work with lathe tools don't realize that our drill bits should never, ever touch metal. And if you kind of get that philosophy in your mind, you get that mindset that your drill bits, whether it be a twist drill, a flat drill, a spur bit, any of the bits, they never touch anything else except wood, and only the wood you want to turn. You have a select set of bits to use, because once you've taken the edge off of a bit, one side or the other, and then you put it in your quill and your tailstock, and you start turning that quill, then do you know how much force you put on that? You put a lot of force on it, and if you're drilling it to end grain and you're starting to walk, it will walk across the piece. It doesn't have anything to follow. It will pick up that one dull corner and walk across with it. Same thing with your spur bit and anything else. So when you dedicate bits to what you love and treasure working in your shop, dedicate them to that and take care of them. Check the edges. Don't throw them in a bucket or a can or a bottle or a box or mix them all together. Treat them like the sharp cutting tools they really are. We kind of overlook that a lot, from Forstner bits all the way up and down. We forget that they're razor sharp tools and rely on that edge to do precision cutting force. And it doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with oversized drill bits or undersized drill bits and large hole first, big hole, or whatever, any of that. If that bit's got the slightest flaw in it, you're losing ground before you get started. So I think right now we could get 10 guys together and get 10 different opinions on how to proceed to drill into something. But the number one opinion would be start with sharp tools. Just like turning, folks. You don't go buy a brand new tool in the show, come home and turn with it. You come home and sharpen it. And then when it's sharp, then you turn with it. And the drill rig, the right angle rig that was being shown earlier, That's a nifty gadget. What it does is it locks you into a pattern. You don't have to go to a gauge. You don't have to go to a set. You don't have to pick up that little depth, that little measuring gauge and see it right there. If you got a number marked on your tool handle and you say this goes to number 4, that goes to number 4, and you know the offset and you got it marked on your thing, and one pass. I get a big kick out of people. I went to a guy's shop the other day. He invited me over to take a look at it, and I was just looking where his grinder is. He's got a bed of shavings at the bottom of his grinder. I said, Bob, what's that? And he says, well, that's, filings when you're sharpening your tools. I said, you could eat on mine because one pass. And that was it. Yeah, but you got to sharpen them up. One pass. That's it. And if you're using a rig like that right now, we're not advertising or sponsoring or sporting a rig, but any rig you have like that, once you get consistent with what you do, those cuts, those sweet cuts. Let's see what Doug was doing tonight. He required a razor sharp tool that he had ultimate control over when he was making fine passes. You can only get that if you know that if you put this tool down now, put down the blue handle one, you pick up the red handle one, and it's ground the exact same way, the exact same setting, and this knows where it's at, this knows where this is, and this can tell. Do you follow me? You don't have to retrain anything. You just got the same slice, the same cut, and you make that. If you have to think about how to make that tool work to fit your ergonomics, to make it with your muscle memory and how you twist it and your tool handle and the bar and all that stuff, you're not gaining in the world. You're not. So what we talked about here tonight, we learned here tonight is consistency counts. It's a nice slogan. We should have it someplace on the wall or whatever. But we're learning here with our demos that every time you plan on doing something, think about it, work it through, get a game plan, and try to make it as consistent as possible. So I don't have to get retrained over and over and over again. Speaking of training, do you know that we're about 2 years away from the very first gathering of Worldwide Woodturners? That's right. Level Up's coming up in September of 2026. I know that's a long ways away, but it's going to be held in Wisconsin. And we're paving a road to get there. We're paving the way there because we're getting every duck in the row. Everybody's lined up. This is all done with volunteer help, folks. This is done with the membership of Worldwide Woodturners. We don't have a board of directors or a committee or this or that of paid employees. No. We have a bunch of woodturners. We want to get together. So we're going to put this thing on. Fantastic. And we're doing something that you don't see a lot of other places. In fact, you might not have ever seen it before. We're going to have multiple lathes at workstations. Why? Because this is an honest to goodness hands-on demonstration area where you can come up, put your hands on the tools and see the turning and do the turning and work on something. You can develop a project. You can work it all the way through. You can work with the designers, the developers, the processes, the tools, the sharpening, all the way through. Everything's going to be geared for you, the woodturner. And we're working on programs to go along with it right now. And every time I talk to somebody about this, they say, what if? You know what I tell them, what if? What if you drop me a note? Yeah. See, I'm forgetful as hell. I got my name typed on my underwear. Because, I forget whose it is. So if you have something to comment about Level Up, all you have to do is send me a note. levelup@worldwidewoodturners.org. How's that for an address? Got it again? levelup@worldwidewoodturners.org. And that's where you can give us comments, help, ask questions, et cetera, et cetera. And that's going to be the basis. That's the basis of this. And that's not where you can buy tickets or make reservations or anything. That's just where we're getting started. because this is getting started. And next week, when you see the newsletter come out next week, you're going to see just what we started. Well, you're going to see what JJ started. JJ's our editor. He puts out a newsletter every other week. There's not a lot of clubs in the world that do newsletters every other week. There's not a lot of clubs in the world that feature their work of their artist every other week. But JJ's got a problem. Yeah. JJ, he's got an unlimited amount of pages to fill, but he doesn't have an unlimited amount of information. So he's always looking for photographs. You see the art that we show every Wednesday night? Yeah, we show the art that you created. If your art is worthy of you to show it to us here, it's worthy for you to show us on the internet, on our newsletter. That's right. You got a picture? Send it to editor. Get this address. editor@worldwidewoodturns.org. And if you got a program or a sketch or an idea or something, tonight we saw a nice little rig to put your carver and all in. I can envision that coming to the newsletter. I can envision when it's all working, set up and done, that he's going to give us that complete thing with the photographs, and you'll be able to see what this member developed to assist him in engraving, detailing, and all that. I love it. I mean, can you imagine you take a piece, it's not on a lathe. You go in the living room. I can't. But you go in the living room and decorate it and all, and get a good air filtration system from Amazon, right there next to you, if you can have the dog, you do wood trimming, and do that. We want to see that. And anything else you develop like that, it's the kind of stuff that built Worldwide Woodturners. Because we're woodturners, and you've heard this before, we just like to get together, sit on a tailgate, tell stories, lies, and all that. See the lies? Tonight we started off and Brenda was talking about snowing and getting in the swimming pool. At one point, I didn't know if Brenda was telling the truth or not. But I was paying attention, Brenda. You had me. But then when I saw, she was a little bit red, but you can't tell. But we have a fun time. That's it. And remember, if you take fun out of wood turning, leave it. If it can't be funny, you can't enjoy it, just walk away from it. Because that's what we do. And a lot of kidding and joking and all going on. But every single week we gather, look, here comes the boss. He's coming to check on me.
She is. Hi, Sandy.
Yeah.
Hi,
They all
Sandy.
said hi. All of them did. Yeah, she teaches dance in school in the evenings. And
Seen her pull in, Eddie. I tried to warn you. It's
Yeah,
in
you
the
sure
chat.
did.
You pull in, he tried to warn me. But we and she would normally drops me off someplace and leaves me alone. But that was the weather's so bad out here this evening. She left, it was drowning toads. So, but we don't talk about the weather. It's been kind of miserable around here.
Kind
So
of like a wet blanket, huh? Followed by a wet noodle.
sort of, yeah, with a little dampness thrown in. But it's South Louisiana. What do you want? So, folks, if you got something to throw into on the table here at Worldwide Woodturners, we do it one way. You throw it in the chat. If you want to talk about something, show about something, you got a question or something. Earlier you introduced the new member? Did we get to that? I don't remember.
Yes, we did. Yes, Scott Newsom.
Scott Newsom. I blanked out for a second. Scott, I'm sorry I didn't say hello. I missed you. Well, we got a lot of new members. In fact, we pumped up a real crowd from meeting at SWAT. A lot of nice folks got together. And I'm still getting repercussions from what we did at SWAT. It was so nice. We're going to do it again. We're going to do it there. We're going to do it elsewhere. I got a notice about the Florida Wood Turning Symposium. I didn't get the dates. And now to get it to, we'll put that on our calendar on our website. Remember, we have the world's greatest website for wood turning, and we're so proud of it. And we have a calendar there. If there's an event, an IRD, a display, a gallery, an auction, whatever, and it deals with wood turning, we're wide open to it. We want to know about it. All you have to do is send it into our webmaster and we'll add it to you. And if you want to be a member, you know how hard it is? You join. Boom. You just come on and join. If you like to drop a note to us, you can do so. If you want to list the members, that's easy. You contact the webmaster, write down that member list, and you put all the information in. They'll contact you. They'll screen it, make sure you're not a robot. I think to tell you got to stand on your left foot and wave. Because I'm looking at that, picking out all these pictures with the bicycles in the corner, that I don't like that. But if you have anything like that, all you do is contact us. We are so wide open, and everything we do is on the internet. Every move this club makes, every meeting, every chat session, everything is wide open to everybody interested. And it's here free. That's right. There's no nickels changed hands in this deal. And we're right here for you. So with that, I'm Captain Eddie Castle, and I'm the founder, but that's where it stopped. All I did was put you people together. And you people, you men, you women, all over the world, you put this together. And you must be so proud of what you've created in the last 5 years. You have to be. And it's just that you have taken and put the fun back in wood turning. We have a great time at it. I know some people go Wednesday to Wednesday. That's how my week lines up. That Monday holiday thing messed me all up. But I'm back cooking. So, do we have any gallery lined up right now?
Yeah, I think there's a couple that are still there. Matt, you got
who's doing it? Matt,
We got
old Grumpy up.
Who?
Old Grumpy.
We got Jim Duxbury first, so he's coming up
He can
next.
qualify, but he's got the lovely bride with him tonight.
You got it.
Hey, Rita.
Keeping track to me. We're gonna put some fun in wood turning. We were talking about making inside out turnings. This is what happens. How do you show this?
You can see.
How do you show this? When you turn, this half is turned the front of a bird. This is half the turn to the back of the bird. This is the bird we used to have. But you can take a picture. Usually you see Christmas ornaments and they're turned the same all the way around. But if you turn half of one and half of another one, I actually take a picture and cut it in half and turn half of one side and half of the other side.
Oh.
So you can do all kinds of things.
Where's the seam at, Jim? Where's the seam? Where?
Right down the middle,
Right
right
down the
down through here.
Right there. Oh, okay.
I don't know if you can see. You know, there's right through the middle here.
Okay, so you have
Duxbury's, you're not gonna see the seam.
So you have like 1 inch by inch and a half pieces.
1.25 inch pieces, but you end up with 4 of these, 2
Right.
left-handed, 2 right-handed.
Right.
4 of these, 2 left-handed, 2 right-handed. So you end
Right.
up with 2 other birds going the other way, or whatever you're making. You can take a picture of somebody and cut it in half. Cut their head in half this way, turn the back half, not my head, somebody else's head. Anyway, okay.
Okay,
That's
cool. Yeah, that's cool.
You can do all kind of things with this. Take a picture of anything and cut it in half and turn
So-
the front half out of one and the back half out of the other.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
I know what you're talking. I know exactly what you're saying. Okay, so you're gonna to make the front half, you're gonna do it the front half. So you have 4 pieces. You do the front half.
Yeah. This front half, yeah.
And then what? Okay. So when do you? Okay, do you turn it then, and then you do the other side?
No, and then you make 4 more pieces of the back side.
So okay, you have several of these made now.
Yeah, you end up with 4 birds. 4.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Two
no,
are looking this way and two are looking this way, okay?
okay. Okay. Yes, that's really nice.
You know, forget what this is. Forget what this is. Make it turning that looks like that. Why can't I get this straight? Make it turning that looks like that. And then make it turning that looks like that.
And then you glue
You got
together.
four pieces
glued
together. Right.
And then all you have to worry about is getting them the right size and position on the wood, or make it one longer than the other, cut it off later, I suppose. But anyway, you can do all kinds of things. You could picture of somebody's dog or something, or
wow.
I've seen the head of Lincoln done in this sort of thing.
Oh, I'll tell you.
And it's really distinct.
It's pretty neat, Jim.
The other thing,
that is.
the other thing is Rita wants to talk, and before she does, I have to say I was falsely accused of sleeping during her demo.
So if anyone saw my demos at SWAT, and I really enjoy doing them, the first demo, some of you may have sat in, and after sitting through hundreds of my husband's demos all over the country and helping him on many of them, I was turning my lighthouse and I looked over at Jim and he's asleep during my demo.
Like a light, completely out like a
And
light.
it was really embarrassing.
He was
And I
out.
called
Hey,
him on it.
Rita.
He was looking
People
out the
could hear,
window.
people could hear him snoring in the
We
back.
already heard this.
And so I called him on it and I said, you know, how embarrassing it was that my husband would fall asleep during my demo. And the audience naturally laughed and we had a good time with it. Well, evidently that word got out throughout the symposium, because when we were leaving on Sunday, this lady who we didn't even know ran up to us as we're going down the escalator. And she said, I think you two should really have this mug. And the mug says, some grandpas take naps, cool grandpas do woodworking, and then they take a nap.
There you go.
Anyway, we had a great time.
We really did.
I wasn't
look at
sleeping.
Yes, you were, Jim.
No, I was
You
trying
were.
to,
There's
I
too
was
many
trying to,
witnesses.
I was
Too
trying to
many
visualize the
witnesses.
lighthouse way out in space.
Yeah, you're
Kelly was
daydreaming,
the
weren't
witness.
you, with your eyes shut?
Anyway,
Look at it this way, Rita. You provided him a space.
your eyelids for a hole.
It was a good time. We really liked it.
You provided him a space to sleep, and your voice soothed him. So, you know, could have been a lot worse.
no, I just closed my eyes a little to visualize the light.
Now he
Anyway,
admits
very
it,
good.
right? Now he's
Anyway,
admitting it.
trying to get the
All right.
proportion. Anyway, that's all for us.
I'm
We
glad
had a
my
great
feet
time.
are up.
Thank you, guys. Who else we got there, Matt? Is Mark up
Next
yet?
up is it. Yeah, Mark's next. If he's awake.
Mark.
You there, Mark?
Mark, wake up.
He's asleep.
Mark, wake up.
Mark, wake up. No, he's out.
All
All
right.
right.
If he
That's
wakes
why I was
up,
trying to
we'll
get to
come
Mark
back
earlier.
to
I think I'll send them this mug.
him. Next up is Chris.
Okay.
Buddy, long time no see. And I still don't see you.
Right?
I'm here.
There we go.
There you are.
Can
We
you
got
hear me?
you. Well, we had you.
Well, you did. That's you.
Yep, you're back, Chris. Go ahead.
No, he wasn't until you said something.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We got you.
Okay. Well, I found a new tool in my wood shop tonight. It's one of these.
Congratulations.
So while I was using this and listening to Doug and everybody, I found a piece of wood under the wood chips and I threw it up and I decided to go out of my comfort zone and just make a little bowl. My pizza plate. piece of maple that was heading for the burn pile. And it took me about 10 minutes maybe, and finished
Yeah.
with Howard Feed and Wax. And I'm happy with it. Don't know what I'm gonna use it for, but that's all I got.
Good.
You're a little.
All right.
Thanks, Chris. Very nice. That's a great idea.
Little
coin. That'll look great on the corner of a desk.
No,
Yeah, it has all the bandsaw and whatever.
That's
dish,
pretty-
key dish, whatever.
That's
Very
pretty
cool.
elegant, actually.
Hey, Chris, how
Yes,
did
yeah,
you
next-
hold that?
What's that?
How did you hold that, Chris?
Oh, I just used a woodworm screw to hold it, put a little recess in the back, slapped it and turned it. I didn't
Very
really think
cool.
about how to hold it, I just did it.
Good. There you go. You don't have to think much,
Yep.
right?
I really didn't think anything was gonna happen, so I
Yeah.
just did.
Chris used the kiss method.
Yeah,
Keep it simple, stupid.
I am stupid, and I kissed.
There's a lot of
Very,
us who
very well
resemble
done.
that.
Very
myself
well done,
included.
Chris. It's a great way to process extra wood we got in the shop.
I have
Yep.
a little bit of that, yeah.
So Trey said he had some finials.
Yeah, I got a couple finials I've been working on this week.
Just a few, huh?
goodness.
Yeah, a couple.
Oh, my goodness.
One or two.
The small
Boy.
ones I did earlier, but I'll tell you one thing I developed on finials. I can take, well, this piece of wood right here was a little bitty tiny piece, about 5/8 in diameter. But by putting a 1/2 inch tenon on the end of it and gluing it onto it, and I'll just put a socket on it and a clamp on it and let it dry. By gluing on, I have a way of holding this, and I can make the finial out of a small piece of material. So 1/4 inch material you can easily make finials out of it, even though you have a bigger size on it. And it makes it a little more exotic when you have have an exotic on here. That's a piece of burl there.
Nice.
Show one of the ones with the carvings on the shaft. That was pretty interesting
He's-
too. I saw that in
He's getting,
passing.
he's getting to it. He's getting to it.
I did this last year. Those are done on the Rose engine.
Right.
Put it on the ornamental lathe, and it's really straightforward and simple. I just simply put it on there. Looks like it's probably 18 bump, and just run it around one time.
Oh,
Wow.
Very nice, Trey.
Badass, Trey.
But it adds just a little bit of accent to it. These are two finials. This one's the first one. This is the second one. Actually, it's not exactly what I was supposed to be doing, but I like it, so I'll continue doing it. But it's an eccentric turning off of the Rose engine.
wow.
So it's just, changing the eccentric off of it and rotating it around. It's done on three axes around and rotating down, moving down on it. So
Wow.
Very cool.
Could that be done on a regular lathe with the offset, like my offset chuck?
you might be able to do that. Yes. The only
I've done it
problem is
using the router.
breaking it here with on the cutter, because all I did was offset it. I
Oh,
moved
yeah,
down
your
about
cutter spinning, yeah.
my cutter is spinning.
I've done it with using a router, holding a router and a jig, and using a like a
Yeah.
Duxbury jig to do the oscillation.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
But your problem is getting down on this when you're cutting that there, that you don't tear it out.
Oh, it's not easy.
Um, But with a flat cutter on there, it cuts really, and you're cutting down this way, but I'm doing it, but
That looks great.
but
It's
it's a sort of
120
neat
degrees,
it's
Ray.
a sort of neat finial. It's a little different. Very
It's
neat.
What is
120
that?
degrees.
It's blackwood.
Blackwood, okay.
120 degrees, right?
Is what?
Wow.
120 degrees?
120 degrees offset on
Yeah.
each one of them. And I
Huh.
moved down 300 thousandths, or I guess 0.3 inches down each time I moved the cutter down. Just rotated 120 degrees, and then I also moved out just a little bit.
I have a hard time.
This is on center,
Okay,
and these are off center further off.
Very cool.
Wow.
So a little different. Some of these, when I did these, I had a joint that I didn't like any here, and I put some mill put. Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah, the
Yeah,
mill put
millput.
in there. Put some black mill put in there to fill the hole. There wasn't a hole in this one, but I just did it as a decorative thing on this one, a little bit more decorative on this one.
Go over how you were holding that again, you know, why you glued that piece on the end.
Well, I glued the piece on the end. This piece is all one piece right here. This is the same piece as this.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay. I start with it. I should have brought a blank in here. I start with this is square. I turn it down to a 1/2 inch tenon on this end. And I turn this down as a piece of round stock.
Sure.
Then I'll take some exotics, and run it through the bandsaw and just cut pieces of it out. Put it on the drill press and drill a 1/2 inch hole in it. And then slide it on the end of it. I put a socket in here, a socket on the end, and clamp it with the socket, putting pressure on this to hold it down.
Yeah. I got you. Now, then it looks pretty. Sure.
Yeah. And I didn't do anything fancy. Some of them didn't turn out as well, but I just put it on the bandsaw and chop it off and drill it, and whatever the surface finish on the bandsaw and everything is what it came out. But most of them you can't even see the joint out once you push it in there.
Yeah. Sure. Looks good.
So,
That's the goal. Yeah.
But it also allows you. This is actually 5/4 stock because I had it readily available. But 3/4 stock or whatever works real well on it. You have a piece of exotic and going into like a sea urchin. I don't have a big one. I have everything's small. This is a small sea urchin. This is the way I would put it together.
Could you move that to your left into the camera?
Okay,
Thank
sorry. Yeah. And I cut that at an angle. That'll go into here, and the other be glued in. And there's a little hole here that I'll put a toothpick in to glue them together.
Yeah.
But a bigger sea urchin, you can't. It won't fit in there, but I still have this end to chuck it. And when I get ready to fit it to the piece that I'm gonna put it on, be it a hollow form or a little hollow globe or sea urchin shell or something like that, I'll rechuck this back in and finish turning this section here to make it fit to the piece that I'm working on. That's the reason why I can do a whole bunch of these at one time, because I'm not having to fit each one. It's like I don't have anything to fit it to right now. But I can easily go through and, as I said, chuck it in here and finish this part off and make it fit onto something.
Good idea.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
And I've been doing this on pretty much all of them now anymore, especially in the bigger ones, doing that to grab it.
It's a real nice feature, especially if you've got extra project wood laying around the shop.
Well, yeah, I actually buy exotic wood and just cut it off because I'm only cutting a slice off. It's 3/8 of an inch off of it, and I just run it through the bandsaw and cut a whole bunch of them off. And so it is a very effective use of an exotic wood. This is actually it's a rosewood, but I don't remember which one. It's one of the rosewoods. I think it's Bolivian rosewood. That's just simply, what you always see, the purple heart. But it's a good use of an exotic. That came off. That was a cutoff here off a Banksia pod.
Wow.
The more little piece of exotic there. But it's a good use of small pieces, or as I say, I just chop them all off. I just run them through and cut them off. I did find out when you're going with the palm, this is black palm, when you're going with it, after I put it on here, I soak it with super glue. With thin super glue, I soak the black palm on it, and it soaks all the way in real well, because that wood splinters out so bad.
Yep.
The chances of actually completing that without putting super glue on it are very, very low. So before I start turning, I soak it good with super glue, and it soaks all the way into it, all the way through it. But it makes a nice decorative section on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this requires super glue, the rest don't. So, and this would be a small sea urchin shell with a taper on it, and then that would fit in there with a toothpick.
Oh, look at that.
Great. I did this one last year. I just hadn't glued it up. And what I'll do
Very
is
cool.
when I make these, that gets dropped into a sandwich bag, and that keeps them together until I get ready to glue them up.
Okay.
So I've
How
got
many-
it fitted. I don't have to glue it up. Same thing with this sea urchin. It was in a
How many
bag all by
sandwich
itself,
bags you got?
and a sandwich bag, and drop it in there.
How many sandwich bags you got?
Sandwich bags come in pack of 500. So
How many Finio kits you got in there?
I actually only have a couple of them because those are the ones I didn't glue up from last year.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I just haven't fitted these. These are the ones I'm showing you out here. There's about 3 or 4 of them from last year, but all the rest of them were from this week. That I just turned. So
When
do a
was
bunch
that
of video at one time.
When is
Go
that
ahead.
big show on the coast?
The first weekend in November.
First week in November. Okay, I got to mark my calendar for that.
So what are you making for Christmas this year? Or is that it?
I probably have enough birdhouses, so I'm probably good with that. I think sea urchin hollow forms are a big thing I'm low on stock on.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of stock that rotates from year to year to year.
Yeah.
I probably have $30,000 worth of stock, and I'll sell 6,000. So,
Where are you finding sea urchin shells to use this year?
I haven't looked, but I have a lot of them already.
Okay. I've just heard a couple people say that they're real hard to find this year for some reason.
Well, just by some freak chance, I went online and started looking for shells, wholesale dealer shells. And I happened to find one in South Mississippi with chips all over the place. And they let me come there and buy some wholesale from them. They have a minimum of $50 or $75 order, but I went there and bought a whole bunch of them. So I have a bunch of the sea urchin shells in different sizes and shapes. Shapes, they're all round. I don't use anything but the round shells.
Yeah, the other ones are a pain. The ones that sort of bend are much harder to get the finials in.
I don't use any of those, but I found about 4 or 5 different types of the round ones that are actually round that I could use. But I have a whole bunch of them already. I don't do it. And I also paint some of my shells. I didn't bring any in. I'll put a gold or a metallic red, metallic green, and maybe a little bit of sparkly on them. And I found out and they actually sell very well. People like them.
Yeah, I like the metallic silver and black finials too. So
yeah, but they like the sea urchin shell being painted. And I did it originally because my shell had sat around in my shop for a year, and it got all dirty and dusty, and I had no way of cleaning it. So my solution was to paint it. And I'm starting to paint ones originally with, before I do anything with it. So, and I just discovered this mill put. This is the first time I've ever used it. I tried it on here and I like it. There's a couple I stuck on this evening that I haven't turned back off. But then again, all I got to do is grab it in here. And sometimes you got to recenter it a little bit, but you bring your tailstock up here and adjust it a little bit. And it's centered well enough to do this in. Maybe not for here, but centered well enough to do anything in this area. It recenters in there well enough. So,
as far as finding urchins, if you go on Etsy, there's lots and lots and lots of people selling sea urchins on Etsy.
Are they? Good.
Very true. Very true.
But their prices are way too high, I'm sure.
I just looked, they're not. I just looked.
Yeah, I got like 80 of them for like $30 the last time I bought them.
Yeah, that's what they are now too. It's like you can buy them in bulk pretty cheap.
Yeah, because I've been buying them by the dozen, and they run about $3 a dozen. Depends on the size, between $250 and $350 a dozen.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Okay, very cool, Trey. That's
Great
quite a
info.
lot.
So
Thanks, Trey. Beautiful
and
work.
probably the big takeaway is tenon, half inch tenon, which oh, by the way, that same size matches my hollow globes that I make. I put a 1/2 inch hole in it, but that allows you to use any type of wood that you want here, because you can buy standard 3/4 inch stock and stick anything you want on there without wasting wood.
Right. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Very cool.
We'll add to repertoire.
All right. Well, thanks, Trey. We're
You're
gonna
welcome.
go see what Mark has going on.
Okay.
What you got, Mark?
There he is.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me go to the dining room here. Get to this table.
Looks great.
Well, I'm getting a little more active on my turning stuff. Okay. Earlier, a lady was she showed a sea urchin, or not a sea urchin, but a Banksia seed pod. And
Yes.
let me switch the camera around here. See if I can. I'm trying to turn. I don't know. I'm going to flip the phone around. Can you all see that?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
I've sold hundreds and hundreds of these Christmas trees. So
What
that's
do you
what
sell them for?
55,
Okay.
Nice.
but they're real easy to do. The only thing you have to do is make sure that you're wearing a mask, because the little fuzz that's on them floats in the air like asbestos. So you just take a torch and you burn the hair off. And then I use just spray Krylon to finish them. Anyway, I made this little box the other day. Can you see?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
we can see him.
That's
Mark.
pretty. Oh, wow.
And I left a
Can't
little.
even see,
I left a
couldn't
little.
even see the joint.
What?
Couldn't even see the joint.
Well, it's a Mark Soleil fit.
Uh-huh. Right? Hell
I
yeah.
like that French fit though.
There's
I
those
like that.
little ones I made. And these are tea light, the pedestal candles, not tea light candles. That's all they are. They're just hollowed out that way to the three little balls on the bottom fit in there. This is that's
Nice.
and this is I believe it's camphor. But anyway,
How did you do the lids? Oh, you muted yourself.
He purchases the steel bases.
Oh, he does. Okay.
Okay. Is that Casey?
Mark, you're muted.
Mark, you muted. Afadama. Big old finger hitting the wrong button.
Traveling across the Commonwealth.
there we
There we
go.
go.
Yeah,
Now we got you.
Okay, what I did is made a little finial in the middle.
Yeah.
So you can do that if you ever have a problem doing that little center. Just make a little design. But anyway, that's all I have.
Very nice.
All right.
Well done.
Very, very, very cool.
Yeah.
Next up is Kelly says he's got something.
Hey guys.
Hey, Kelly.
I turned a bunch of stuff at the market, but this is the only thing I thought was worth showing. And it's just a hollow vase. It's box elder. The colors are a little bit more vibrant in real life than they are kind of muted on this screen, but got a little texture on the top.
That looks nice.
That's all I
That's
got.
really good, Kelly. Looks great.
Amazing.
Looks damn good.
Thanks. That's it.
All right, cool. Thanks, Kelly. Next up is Howard.
Oh, this guy's tough.
Hey,
This guy again?
hey,
Hey,
two hollow
yeah.
forms in a row, and I'm ashamed to show this after Kayla showed his, but this is a big leaf maple, and I think I like Kelly's better than I like this one. So, but anyway,
I like them
That
both.
was pretty.
That's
Maybe he'll
beautiful.
trade you.
Got a
Maybe he'll
place that's
trade you,
pretty.
Howard.
I
Maybe he'll
had
trade you,
dyed
Howard.
this blue, and the color of the maple, which is a cream mixed with blue, gives you a green tint to it. So it's came out green. So anyway,
Doesn't look too green from here.
No, it don't.
No.
Right?
Uh-uh. Nope.
See
You can't
yellow and
fade on,
red.
can't fade in there.
how's that?
Yeah.
Oh
It looks
my.
green now, don't it?
Now,
Yeah, looks green on my camera on my cell phone.
So anyway,
Pretty nonetheless. I love the grain in it. That's just gorgeous.
Yes.
well, thank you.
gorgeous.
It doesn't compare to what Kelly did. Kelly did a great job there. Fantastic job. So anyway,
Calling you Doug
That-
Rowe.
that's two hollow forms in a row. We need one more now. Make it three.
Well, we got to see what Joaquin. We got to see what Joaquin's got going on here.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
What you got, Joaquin?
Well,
Got a hollow form?
no, I don't have a hollow form, but I did pretty good at SWAT with my 3-for-1 tickets, a $25 investment. I ended up winning a Carter & Son 3/4-inch stew and handle. And then I won 4 bottles of walnut oil, natural walnut oil, which I've never used before. And so I turned this fruit bowl for a lady. This is mesquite. And not ever using the walnut oil, I didn't know what to really do with it. I put it on. It took about 4 or 5 days to dry, but I was amazed how it come out and how it showed the grain. I was really impressed.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
Shine on that thing.
Very nice.
Blinding.
And it's more or less a sheen, but I didn't take, I left it on the chuck because I didn't know whether I was going to stay with it or what I was going to do with it, but I'm happy with it. Tomorrow,
Right.
take it off and finish it up and give it to the lady. And so it's my first experience with natural walnut oil. I've used, Mahoney's and the other polymer oils that I was happy with. But at SWAT, I got this piece of Osage orange from Jim and Rita. And it was natural edge here. The bark come off of it. And that was okay. I said,
wow.
So I want to thank Jim and Rita for trading out some wood.
Nice. We're gonna send you more pieces.
Well, actually, this could be a collaboration because you did get it started kind of running.
Yeah.
Claim this is a collaboration with you, Jim.
Okay, you did justice to it. Nice job.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's what I have.
Well done, Joaquin. Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that's all I've got on my list. So with that,
Clint
I'm
Hall
going to turn
has
it.
something.
Clint, holy.
We can go to Clint. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
He didn't say he wanted to show it. He just said he wanted to show it to Jim and Rita. But we'll spotlight him.
There
Oh,
you
look at that.
Nice.
Oh, B, he was paying attention.
I
Oh,
was.
oh,
I
He
did it
wasn't
out of
sleeping.
a piece of willow, and it surprised me. It had some nice blue gray modeling in it.
Yeah.
very nice.
Nice.
Not
Good
everybody
job.
fell asleep.
Yeah.
I was running the camera. I was doing the cameras on the demo, so I had to stay awake.
I
wasn't doing anything but watching, but I still stayed awake.
I'm
Nice
looking at
job.
my-
Very nice.
That one down.
Great job. What kind of wood you make it out of?
That is willow.
Willow, like weeping willow, or?
Yeah, it's something we got from our wood depot in Austin.
Oh, okay.
That's like about 4 inches across right there.
It came out great.
I sprayed a lot of glue on that bark, though. Believe it.
I believe that. Yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta do
Ready
sometimes.
to come off, but it's not going to come off now.
You can't complain about that.
Hey, Matt, I
All
did
right,
get
well,
this thing. I got this thing sanded and oiled if you want to look at it.
That sounds like Doug.
Doug.
Yeah, that's Doug.
All right, Doug.
There
Oh,
you go.
wow.
Got it sanded. I used the Dremel while folks were talking and sharing, and I was watching and sanding at the same time. But then just put some oil on it. That's walnut oil, Joaquin.
Yeah.
I use
okay.
it fairly frequently, and I rub it in by hand.
Yeah.
That's
what I did.
I'll rub it in for a few minutes and let it sit. And if there's some that kind of bubbles up to the surface, I'll take a paper towel then and wipe it. 24 hours later, put some more on it. Not a biggie. It's just typical oil. But anyway.
Very cool. Very cool.
Nice.
Eastern red cedar. It gave it a really rich looking color, didn't it?
It did.
I did.
It did. I've got some walnut oil and some cedar in the shop right now. I'm going to have to try that.
Yeah. A lot of fun. But anyway, there you go.
Thank you, Doug.
That can be, have other finishes put over it. You let it dry for about 3 days, and then you put lacquer, poly, whatever. It'll go over just fine.
Cool.
Yeah, I use walnut oil on all of my food grade items that I make, salad bowls and tongs and things like that, because there's a couple of properties that walnut oil has, and that's number one, it polymerizes.
Yes.
So what I do, if I make a salad bowl, I'll take and I just wipe on about 15 coats. What I do is I just wipe it on, let it soak in, wipe it on, let it soak in. As soon as it doesn't soak in, that means that the oil is all the way through the piece. Now you wind up with about 3/8 thick, on a salad bowl. So, well, then when it polymerizes in the cells, it becomes hard and it becomes impervious to the detergents and all that.
Yeah.
Another reason I use that on my food grade items, if you use any other oil other than mineral oil, which is basically liquid petroleum product, right? The walnut oil, of course, has jugulinic acid in it because the black walnut tree is named Negro jugulans. And the jugulinic acid, right, is a natural herbicide. So it will never get funky or moldy or anything like that.
Sounds great, Mark.
All right, it's a great product. You can buy it at the farmer's market or at one of those natural food stores. Spectrum sells it out of California. And make sure that you do not buy anything except the cold pressed natural walnut oil. If you buy the stuff with the paraffin in it, or the beeswax in it, then it won't soak all the way through the wood. And it'll only be on the surface and you'll have problems later on.
Yes. Yes.
Do you worry about
Gotcha.
the allergies?
Well, I tell people that's got walnut oil if they want a different finish.
My understanding that the stuff that causes the allergies, like I have nut allergies, so that's an issue. But my understanding with walnut oil is that the stuff that causes the nut allergy reaction is not in the oil. It's come only from the nuts, and the oil doesn't come from the nuts, I don't think.
Well, Mahoney boils it.
It does. They press.
Have you ever tested it?
They press the walnuts.
Well, I am using it in my shop, and I react to walnuts, and I don't react to walnut oil.
Oh, okay.
So
Drink it?
I tried a little bit on a little bit in a spoon. Yes.
Yeah, I just wondered because I heard, Mahoney boils his or whatever to get rid of the allergy
To remove the
portion of it.
protein.
Yeah,
Right.
and I've used the stuff from the grocery store, and I don't know.
Yeah, I have a very just very pronounced and direct reaction. My throat closes up. So, like I said, I did not react to the oil. So
Yeah, my daughter is deathly allergic.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
she has
remove
to do
the
her,
proteins from the oil, it removes the nut allergy.
Well,
Say that again, Cade.
Joaquin won.
If they remove the proteins from the walnut oil, it removes the nut allergy. So food safe walnut oils, it's normally no nut reaction. But with the cooking ones and the ones you get at the supermarket, they're for cooking. They haven't removed the proteins from the walnut oil, so you can get that are made for wood finishes and furniture and all that. The protein, so there's.
all right, well, that's good to know.
Joaquin won some oil, which is called natural. He won natural walnut oil.
That's what this was, natural.
Yeah, and I does that mean it's got the whatever in it, or?
I think it's I couldn't find anything on this particular brand, and I just assumed it's raw, straight from the walnut.
Yeah.
No.
Was that in a brown can?
No, it was Heirloom. Heirloom.
Okay.
And I can't find that brand. It's like they don't make it anymore.
If you go to Spectrum in California, they make every kind of nut oil that there is. They express it, and there's no extra weird stuff put in it. And it works just great. And by the way, if you use it for cooking and on salads, every tablespoon of walnut oil has 1,900 milligrams of omega-3. It's better than eating fish.
Huh.
And it only costs $8 a quart. I buy it by the case at the farmer's market.
Very cool.
Spectrum in California has any kind of nut oil you want.
Okay.
Thanks, Mark. We're going to go back to Kelly because he says that Brooklyn is there with a lighthouse to show Rita.
There she is.
All right.
Very nice.
Nice. That looks good.
Yeah,
Really
Brooklyn.
good. We're in the demo.
I was in the demo.
And you saw Jim.
And I saw Jim go to sleep.
This is a put up.
I knew that was coming.
That's
Very
that's
good.
a really
great
job.
Yes.
That's a really good
Great job.
Brooke.
Great job, Brooklyn.
Nice job.
I
Nice,
started
very
it.
good.
I started
Very
it,
good.
but Dad had to finish off the top because I was busy.
Oh,
No, it looks good.
it's great.
Very nice.
It
Looks
looks
good.
good. I like the base of it. Yeah, the base.
Very nice. I like the bottom.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well done.
What wood is that?
Man, if you hadn't asked me, I could have told you. It's that one that's got that yellowish, whitish color to it with the black center that gets blacker as it gets older. What's that called again? It's mostly here in Texas. I'll remember it in a minute.
Mulberry or Osage orange?
Persimmon.
Persimmon.
Texas persimmon?
Persimmon, yeah, Texas persimmon.
Texas ebony?
Yeah.
No, persimmon.
No,
Does it
no,
really
it's
have-
Texas persimmon.
Yeah, Texas
Texas
persimmon.
persimmon has a tendency to be that way.
Yep.
It's typically really light, but it's false.
Ohio persimmon's like that too.
Very
It's just
cool.
persimmon.
Well, yeah, but there's a difference between Texas persimmon and regular persimmon. Texas persimmons only get about the size of a big marble. They're smaller than a grape.
Oh, okay.
Regular persimmons get large.
Yeah, it gets the size of a plum.
Fruit, okay.
Yeah.
Yeast like them.
Yeah.
Those
When you
Asian
crack-
persimmons get
And
the
then when
size.
you crack the seed open of a regular persimmon, there will be a knife, fork, and a spoon inside too.
Right.
Well, no, he's not wrong. There'll either be a
Tells the
knife shape
weather.
or a fork shape or a spoon shape, and it tells you what the winter is supposed to be like.
That's right. Yeah.
The
Is it
same
edible?
holds true for
Yeah, they're
for
edible.
Texas
They're edible.
persimmons, but they're smaller and they're harder to get. Oh, they would make great jam. But
Oh, they
my
taste so
wife,
good if you can beat the coons to
Yeah.
yeah.
And the
Well,
deer, we have
We
deer.
have deer every night.
Here, the seed's about a quarter of the size of the persimmon here, so
Yeah.
they're kind of hard to get through. But
Don't ever eat a green one.
them. Oh my God, you'll have lockjaw for a week.
You won't do that a
You
second
have-
time.
You have never tasted tart before
Acrid.
until
Nope.
you bite into a green
Oh.
persimmon.
Oh,
So we
they're
used to
acrid.
bring the city slickers in on the farm when the kids would come help us on the farm, and then so I'd always bring them, persimmon here. They'd be hot, and thirsty. I'm like, here's a nice satisfying fruit, and they bite into it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
You're mean.
When we bought this house down here
That'd
in
be fun.
North Carolina,
We
the
have a big
realtor
persimmon
said,
tree.
we got a big persimmon tree in the front yard. The realtor says, those are persimmons, don't eat those, they're bad. So later they were talking, and I went over and I picked one up off the ground, and it was really ripe, and I tasted just a little bit of it. And damn, these are
It was
pretty good, so I
delicious.
ate it. And he saw that and he says, you really eat that thing? I said, yeah, they're really good. So then we picked one off the tree. Oh my God.
Right? And another thing about persimmon is
Sucker power.
that is the only ebony wood in North America. The only proper true
Yeah.
ebony in North America.
Oh.
It's hard as nails, and they
Yeah.
used it in golf club heads years
Yeah,
ago.
making golf clubs. Yep.
Yeah.
They used it for gun stocks in World War II.
Yep,
Yeah.
they sure did.
Really?
Anyway, makes nice lighthouses, Brooklyn.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful, Brooklyn.
Yeah, if you have an
Really
old
good.
M1 Grand, you got a persimmon stock on it.
Really?
9 times out of 10.
Huh. Well, last persimmon I had, I made tomato steaks out of it. I was so disgusted with that stuff.
Tomato
Anyway.
steaks.
Tomatoes like it.
There you go.
Right. Well, all right. Well, we're up against the hour. This is the demarcation point for the program. So we had a really good show tonight. We talked about some interesting subjects. I think we cleared up some drilling issues with Forstner bits. We learned how to make a multi-spicketed knuckle through Doug's demo tonight, and saw a lot of nice pictures in the gallery from everybody. People have been turning, and then we heard a carry on funny story about Mr. Duxbury. For those of us for those of you that hadn't heard the story already, it was funnier last week the way we heard it. Reedy, you did a good first-hand rendition of it, though.
Not true.
So now's the time. If you want to duck off, you can go ahead and duck off. Otherwise, I am going to keep the meeting open